Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show as we continue the postmortem from the Buccaneers' loss to the Washington Commandos. Oh, it still hurts. I can still hear that doink. The doink is just why do we have to have sound effects to our heartbreak? I mean, come on. That's not even fair. But here we
football, JP. It's football.
It's football. Toughen up, Buttercup. Good morning to you, Tim Ham, from our DSP affiliate in Dallas. It looks like the snow has gone away in Dallas. The roads are back up. You can make it to the studio. Unfortunately, I could not tonight.
Yep. Yeah, I still have about 3 inches of ice in my backyard, though.
Oh,
where the sun doesn't shine.
Yeah, free ice. Yeah. Well, there you go.
So my dog's going outside to do their business. Sliding is pretty funny. I need to put little hockey uniforms on them.
Yes,
pretty funny.
I got to get Tally into some snow. Tally's never seen snow.
Oh, that's not right.
No, I got to bring her up to Breckenridge. Can you fly dogs? Yeah. Like, how do you fly dogs these days?
Buy them a seat. You got to buy them a seat.
You got to buy them a seat.
Or you can, like, that's what I would do with my big dog, but like,
you
put them in a big crate, and you can put them in a kennel and they'll carry him in the cargo hold.
Isn't it like freezing down there?
I don't know that it's air conditioned. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends on the airline.
Maybe they have an area where it's like pressurized and everything. Probably, I would think dogs won't survive. So anyway, this is all the topic of conversation. Obviously, the Bucs falling out, and what's next, and we're going to get to that. Scott Reynolds is going to join us at 10:30. TJ Rives will join us at 11:45. We will ask you for your comments, and I'm asking you guys, if you're the Glazers, what are you thinking right now? What are you thinking right now? As John Spytek, your assistant general manager, who's done a great job helping Jason Light with the draft and building this roster, which I think is one of the top 8 rosters in the game. I might even go top 5. Mm-hmm. So they've built that, and of course the Raiders are looking for a new coach. And by all accounts, one of the reasons Tom Brady is a owner of the Raiders now is to bring his acumen to team building to the Raiders. Now, I don't know how good he's going to be at that job because his team building here in Tampa Bay on the exit was not what I would call first class. But he's working with a different set of circumstances now, so it's a different dynamic. But I mean, I'm probably not the sharpest, tool in the shed. I'll be the first to admit that. But I'm not that stupid.
Right.
So John Spytek is on his second interview with the Raiders. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady reportedly spent about a half hour talking to Liam Cohen when he was here for the last game. I'm guessing that Tom Brady probably did a lot of intel when he was here about Liam Cohen, I would think, if you're hiring a new head coach. And do you think that Tom Brady is going to go out and find the best defensive head coach he could find?
Does he know how to do that?
Man, I'm going to go. He's probably leading offense. I'm going to just take a little stab. Once again, not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm going to go, he's probably looking for an offensive head coach. Right. All right. So who does that leave out there? But first of all, is Mike Tomlin available? By the way, some team did actually inquire, reportedly, according to Adam Schefter, with the Steelers, if Mike Tomlin was available for a trade. And Mike Tomlin has a no-trade contract.
Which is weird for a coach, right? To have to include a no-trade clause in your contract.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of weird, but smart, I think. Smart, right. Sure. So just the whole Pittsburgh thing is just weird, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that are saying, he probably needs a change of venue for him to freshen things up.
Right.
I think stability is great. in this league. Absolutely, especially when you have a record that Mike Tomlin has.
Yep.
I can point towards, his most recent issues being more quarterback related than anything else, because he's proven himself as a head coach. But new scenery for him, I think, might benefit both.
Here's where I will say,
I would never fire Mike Tomlin if I'm the Steelers. I'm not doing that.
No, and we're not going to get into Steelers talk. I cover the Steelers for Athlon Sports, one of the many teams. And in Pittsburgh,
who don't you cover, for God's sakes, bro?
They're calling for his head in Pittsburgh, and they have for a couple of years. But here's where Mike Tomlin, and he did fail this year. The failures of the Steelers are his fault this season. And it was as soon as he went and hired Arthur Smith as his offensive coordinator. That was one of the worst offenses I have ever seen. And I'm not talking statistically. I don't know where they are statistically. I haven't looked. But that's one of the worst looking offenses I have ever seen. I don't care if you've got Justin Fields and Russell Wilson as your quarterbacks. That is a horrible offense, and Arthur Smith should be fired today and should not get another job in the NFL ever, because it was that bad, covering it from week to week.
Yeah.
But everybody's putting the blame on Tomlin for Wilson's failures. And I thought Wilson had about the season I thought Russell Wilson would have if he'd started all year. He missed the first part of the season with that calf injury he had in the preseason. Actually, the first day of camp, he hurt that calf. And, Fields played okay. But Wilson came in and sort of ignited the offense for a few, and then they ended the season on a 5-game losing streak, including the playoff loss, because of the offense.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you know what? If I'm another team, I'd be excited about Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, fresh scenery, never had a losing season. If you're a Cowboys coach, obviously that doesn't get you anywhere after the news yesterday. But
which we need to get into. We'll get into that.
We'll get into that.
Is Deion coming? Everybody wants to know. So we'll get to that. So my point is that change. Obviously, continuity wins in this league. But continuity for a long time can get stale. We saw that with Tony Dungy when he was fired after going to the playoffs 4 times, including an NFC championship game, a whisker away from a Super Bowl, if you will. But at that time, the Glazers thought, you know what, this offense is not getting any better, and we're having to force his hand to make changes in the offense. Maybe we just need to get a little bit of juice. And I can tell you, I don't know if there has been a more beloved coach in the locker room than Tony Dungy that I've covered. Bobby Bowden would be up there, obviously, but I don't know if I've ever covered. Bruce Arians was very popular amongst his players, but I would say, just in my anecdotal opinion, none better than Tony Dungy. He was absolutely beloved. So when the Glazers made that change, there was a very real danger in losing the team and losing the locker room by firing their dad.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, that's what he had become, a father figure to all those young men. And so the Glazers had to really, really go out on a limb in terms of that. But what they felt was this team had gotten stale. The message had gotten stale. They had a Super Bowl defense that they were wasting because they couldn't get the offense right. So their feeling was, we got to go find an offensive guy. Now, Rich McKay went out and secured the services of who? Marvin Lewis, a defensive guy who had had a great success with the Bengals, but not playoff success. And the Glazers said, not the guy. They had a certain guy in mind, or a certain type of coach. And he was a fire starter with an offensive mind. And that was John Gruden, a young fire starter, 42 years old at the time. And it worked out. Fast forward to 2019 or 2018, and the Bucs are looking for a new head coach, and Jason Light is on thin ice. He reaches out to whom? Bruce Arians, who I would say, although much older than John Gruden, very much in the same mold. Fire starter, master motivator, offensive genius. That's what they felt like they needed, because they had built a pretty damn good defense, right? And a good roster. And Jason Light felt that, this roster's good enough. So there was 1 year of Jameis, and then, of course, the Tom Brady situation, which, he came here because the roster was ready to win. He knew that. He had a defense that was ready to win, run by Todd Bowles, and had an offensive-minded coach that liked to get after it. And what happened? They won a Super Bowl. So if I'm the Glazers and I'm sitting here at the crossroads of another burgeoning roster that looks like it's got Super Bowl capability, I mean, you look at the weapons and the young players. You look at an offensive line that, is Luke Gedeke going into his fourth year, I believe. Cody Mock going into his third year. Graham Barton, a rookie center. Tristan Wirfs just won All-Pro right tackle and left tackle, the first one to do that. Ben Bredesen's a free agent. I bring him back. Unless you feel like, and his name escapes me right now, the guy we drafted in the 6th round who everybody loves is ready to play, and he can come and step in and play. Your last 2 draft classes have been phenomenal, and you've got playmakers all over the board.
Talking about Klein?
Klein. Yeah, Klein. Thank you. Elijah Klein. You've got playmakers all over. You've got maybe a top 5 running back in Bucky Irving as a rookie. So you've got the prime of his career, which for rookies is their first 5 years. In running backs, it's their first 5 years. You've got obviously a Hall of Famer in Mike Evans. Clearly, there's plenty of tread on those tires. You got Chris Godwin coming back, who I think you would be able to secure, and no one rehabs harder and better than Chris Godwin. I believe dislocated ankle. That doesn't seem to be a debilitating injury to me moving forward, a career-threatening one. So I think you get a pretty good Chris Godwin coming back. You have a really great young receiver in Jalen McMillan that's developing, and a tight end in Cade Otton who really, really emerged this year as one of the better tight ends. His blocking improved dramatically. His physicality running the football after the catch improved dramatically. I would call him a top 10, maybe even top 5 tight end in this league right now. So there are ingredients here to be a really successful offense for the coming years. And, of course, you've got your quarterback in Baker Mayfield, who is not perfect, but by every statistical measure is a top 10 quarterback in this league, top 5 in many of those categories, including touchdown passes. Does he need to take care of the ball a little bit better? Yes, he does. But they put up 30 points a game. And this is in the first year of Liam Cohen. There is no reason to think that this offense just won't continue to get better and better and better. There's no reason. I mean, there's wait a minute. There's one reason. There's one reason. If you let the guy who put the whole damn thing together get away to the Raiders or any other team. Now, listen, I know it's politically unpopular to talk about firing Todd Bowles. I get it. But we're trying to be objective here and look at the numbers. So let's throw some numbers out at you. First of all, I want to do this as well. Let's go. I looked up a list of the top, the rankings of the coaches. Okay. Looked at a few of them. And there was one list, I believe it was what I would say, Pro Football Network, a couple, and so I kind of amalgamated a couple of different lists. CBS Sports, ESPN came up with a list. So this is kind of an amalgamation of the top head coaches in the league. And I'm going to focus on what I call the superpower. All right. What are these coaches' superpowers? What do they do really, really well? Okay. Andy Reid, great play caller. And I would say a great team manager. Players love him. Players absolutely love Andy Reid. He's a great communicator. He's a great play caller. Obviously has learned how to manage games. Remember, he couldn't win the big games and now has pretty much figured that out. All right. I don't think we need to go too far with that. Sean McVay, what's his superpower? Very similar to Andy Reid. Great play caller, mastermind on offense, and a great motivator. If you've ever heard Sean McVay speak, holy shit. I mean, the dude, last night I was listening to his post-game speech. Unbelievable. And this is a quality that I personally highly endear.
He's a leader of men.
He's a leader of men. Okay? And this is a very, sometimes it's hard to describe, but you know it when you see it. It's like love, right? It's hard to define, but you know it when you see it. That dude is a leader of men, and there's no question about it. John Harbaugh, Baltimore Ravens. What is his superpower? He's a special teams coach, great motivator, great organizer. Players love him, and a great game manager, by the way, a really, really good game manager, and has a great feel for the game of football. Yeah, I would say that's his superpower. Would you add anything to that?
And you know what? They say sometimes being a player's coach is a detriment to a guy. I think Harbaugh is the other way. I think he's still a player's coach.
Yeah.
And he's one of these coaches, and you talk to guys that have played for him for a long time. I mean, they want to run through a wall for him.
Yeah.
But he's fair. He's fair.
Yeah. So Kyle Shanahan, not necessarily my great cup of tea, but he's consistently listed in the top 5 because of his offensive genius, right? Great play caller. That's his superpower. I think that would be where I would sit there. Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell isn't a coordinator, but he leads the league. Detroit leads the league in scoring. But he is the master motivator, right? He is the guy that just lifts his team up, galvanizes his team, galvanizes his city. He fits the city culture, right? Motown. He fits that, biting kneecaps. That's him. His superpower is lighting his team up. And yes, you can win the other way. I like this way. I like my coach to be a master motivator like that. And I think that's his superpower. Mike Tomlin, very much the same. I think Mike Tomlin is a great organizer. He is a great leader of men. He is a great leader of men. He holds guys accountable. And I think that's what has been his secret sauce for a long time. That dude is a great leader of men. He is a master motivator. That is his superpower. Would you add anything to that?
No, I agree 100%.
Jim Harbaugh, I would say, already listed in the top 10 of the NFL coaches by almost everything. He's a winner. Every place he's gone, he's been a winner. And he does it with what? Physical football. That's his thing. And he does it with a message. His superpower is he's a leader of men. That is his superpower. Without question, that dude is the alpha. He's in charge. They follow him. He is the William Wallace.
He makes you scratch your head sometimes, but
yes,
whatever he does, his madness works.
Matt LaFleur, what's his superpower? Calling plays. Another young offensive genius. Does really well in managing games. Has a great record. His winning percentage is now .674, which is third highest among all active head coaches in the NFL. Kevin O'Connell, what is his superpower? The dude is 8-1 this year in one-score games. 8-1. He's 24-9 over his 3-year career in one-score games. That is third best in the history of the game behind the great Guy Chamberlain and a guy named John Madden. Managing games, calling plays, winning one-score games. You know what Todd Bowles' record this year in one-score games was? 2-6. 2-6. 8-1, 2-6. One-score games. And by the way, the biggest games usually come down to that. Yeah. Some of the others that are listed, Sean Payton, obviously, great play caller. And there, I found there's a couple other guys that were listed in the top, in the fringe 10 to 15. Sean McDermott, defensive guy, but still is on the hot seat, right? People are always bitching about him.
Every year.
Yeah, because what's his superpower? I don't really see it. I see it kind of Bowles-esque, to be quite honest. And I put Nick Sirianni in that same category. Yeah, they're winning. Is it because of him or because of the roster? I think universally, if you had people to choose, what they would say, roster.
I mean, Nick Sirianni's not even really liked by his own players. Like he and Jalen Hurts have this weird relationship where they can't stand each other.
Yeah, his superpower is he wins despite all his flaws.
Sometimes he wins.
Sometimes he wins. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do this because I say, where is Todd Bowles? Well, first of all, he's consistently ranked in all these lists at 20 or below. I mean, who's making the list? I don't know. We just guys that cover the game. But universally, He's not in the top 15. And,
Right.
and most of these lists have guys like D'Amico Ryans who bit second year. Jim Harbaugh come back for his first year. Kevin O'Connell been in for 3 years. Most of these guys, but Todd Bowles is not on any of these lists. None of them. He's not well respected around the league as a head coach. I mean, and again, this is not about personal. This is not personal. The dude, if I were ranking coaches as far as personal and who they are as men, he'd be in the top 5 for me. Maybe number 1. But this is not about that. This is about coaching a football team. And it's not about race. It's about coaching a football team. And by the way, the Bucs have hired 4 black head coaches, which I believe is more than any other franchise. Hiring or firing a black coach after going to the playoffs 3 straight years, I don't think is going to be an issue. And if it is, it's because anybody who makes it an issue is not familiar with the ownership group here and what they do, not only for minorities, for women across the board. I would challenge any franchise in the NFL to have a better record than the Bucs in this category, without question. So I don't think that's a factor, nor should it be a factor, quite frankly. So I'm here to ask you, what is Todd Bowles' superpower? What does he do really, really well that makes you say, you know what, we can't replace that? That's hard to find. That's really, really hard to find. Is he a master motivator?
Nope.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to say that's a no for me. Again, there's a lot of different ways to do it. And if he tried to do it, even when, as a joke, he said, I'm excited. It's like, oh, that's not authentic. It was funny because that's not you. You don't get excited. And listen, again, you can do it a lot of different ways, but you better have some superpower. If you're not a great motivator, you should have what's your superpower? All right, well, he's a defensive genius. That's waning. The last 2 years since he's become a head coach, his defenses have not been good, quite frankly. They have not been good. This year, a 29th ranked pass defense. You can't get any turnovers. You get 45 sacks, but they don't affect the games in any meaningful way that I can remember. Just like they're just numbers. I didn't say, oh man, that pass rush today was the reason we won the game. I haven't said that all year long. I've only said that offense was kick ass. That's the reason they won the game. So what is the superpower? Does he set a culture of accountability? Yeah, no, I don't see that either. I see the same guys making the same mistakes with the same excuses all the time. That's what I see. I don't see a whole lot of accountability. Now, look, there are positives. Did they win the division? Yes. Let's look at this division in context. For the last 3 years, I think you've had one team over 500, and that was the Falcons this year, right? Or did they finish 9-8? Check that for me.
The Falcons?
Yeah. Or were they 8-9? I guess.
I think I would know that off the top of my head. 8-9.
8-9. So I don't even know if there's been a team that has finished over 500 in the last 3 years, but you won the division. Let's add some context, for God's sake. Normally, when you're talking about division winners, you're saying, oh, well, they're averaging what, 12 wins a game? 12 wins a year? No. More like 8.5.
I can answer that right now if you want.
Sure.
So this year, of course, the Bucs won with 10 wins. The next closest was 8 wins, right, for the Falcons. Last season, the Bucs won it at 9-8. The Saints were 9-8. Falcons 7-10. The year before that, 22-23, Bucs 8-9. Panthers, Saints, and Falcons all 7-10. The year before that, which was 21-22, of course, that was 13-4. That wasn't Bowles, though.
Yeah.
And then the Saints were 9-8. So
right.
So there you go.
Yeah, it's we got to keep it in context. If that's your reason why they should keep Todd Bowles around, well, then you're rewarding mediocrity, is what you're doing. He's 1-3 in the playoffs, and that one win was against an Eagles team at home that was in a flat tailspin, a complete flat tailspin. Look, winning playoff games is winning playoff games, absolutely. But context is context. Context is context. Did they play well against the Lions? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. It's a great run. But all of this was all offensive generated. It's Baker Mayfield. It's Liam Cohen. And when you have the most dramatic change in histories in Super Bowl era in running games from 32nd to second, because you brought in a new and what were the differences? A new staff, new OC, new offensive line coach, and Kevin Carberry, who will probably be attached to Liam wherever he goes. New staff across the board offensively that I think did a hell of a job developing players. Jalen McMillan got better as the year went on with McClendon as the receivers coach. Now, Graham Barton got better as the year went on. Graham Barton got a lot better. So did Cody Mauch. Cody Mauch has developed really well. Luke Gedeke has developed really well. They've gotten better. You see this on the offensive side. Does JTS ever get better on the defensive side? Has Jamel Dean gotten any better? Has he learned to catch the football? No. Zion McCollum's gotten better. I'll definitely say Zion McCollum has improved. Absolutely. But who else?
But they've built no depth. They've built no depth in the secondary.
No. And they're 29th in pass defense. 29th in pass defense. 29th. And then I come to managing of games. Again, 2-6 and one score games. And I look at this game. And I said to myself before the game, what did I talk about last week, Tim? I said, this is on Todd Bowles. This is on Todd Bowles to come up with a creative game plan that is aggressive, uber aggressive, and gets after Jaden Daniels and makes him uncomfortable. Did you see that?
Yeah.
No, we didn't see that.
Oh,
we saw them sitting back in zone or a passive man defense. I mean, you go look at both of those touchdown throws from Jaden Daniels. De'Ami Brown is literally not – there's no one within 15 yards of him and no pressure on the quarterback on a 3rd and 10. That's a 4-point play. You make that, not even Dan Quinn's going for that on 4th down. They got to kick a field goal. It's the difference in the game. 4th down, Terry McLaurin, and they run some man zone hybrid. Even, Brady's breaking it down on telestrator go, this guy's doing nothing. This guy's doing nothing. This guy's guarding grass. And Terry McLaurin just runs in between 4 people. And Daniels throws a horrible throw. I don't know if it was horrible or he just said, I don't even have to drill this in. I'm going to throw it. It's nice and little, just catch it. Nobody's near you. I'm just going to throw it in there. Just want to make sure you get it. I don't have to drill it in because there's nobody near you, and just throw it in there. And it's just as easy as can be. And you want to talk about not going for it on 4th down and kicking the field goal. I actually agree with that. I think you kick the field goal there and tie the game because there's 4 minutes left. And you should be able to get the ball back. Either they're going to score and you're going to use your 3 timeouts to make sure you have time at the end of the game, which, of course, he screwed up again. It didn't come down to matter because you never got him off the field because your defense is so bad. But they screwed up that in a dramatic way. In the first half and the second half, you screwed up the use of your timeouts in a dramatic way, like not even close to what you should have done. And elementary calls here, like this. None of this is gray area stuff. You got it. This is the series that you have to use all 3 of your timeouts. It doesn't matter if they get 7 yards on 1st down. Once you call one, you got to call them all. So why wait for 40 seconds to call it? What are you doing? What are you doing? It's bad. And people want to defend this stuff. It's not about the man. It's about the coach. So you're seriously saying that you're going to let Liam Cohen walk out the door and probably take all of his assistants with him when you have this burgeoning young group of collective offensive talent that for the first time in the Super Bowl era, they had 70% completions, over 250 yards per game and passing and 144 yards in rushing. I mean, no offense has done this. And you're going to let the architect of this walk out the door and say, oh, we'll find another one. Are you out of your effing mind? Are you out of your effing mind? So you're going to let John Spytek and Liam Cohen and Kevin Carberry and everybody leave for the Raiders. And while you sit here and say, we got to hold on to Todd Bowles. Why? What is he bringing you? That is not, that you can't replace. Well, I don't know if Liam Cohen's going to be a good head coach. Nope. I don't either. I didn't know Todd Bowles is going to be a good head coach this time around. I think he's been okay. I think he's been average. He has not elevated this team, in my opinion. The defense is not good. It's a liability. He's the defensive play caller. As a defensive coordinator, he'd probably be fired. But you're going to keep him as a head coach? Why? Because he's a great game manager and a great motivator of men? No.
And what's comical, JP, is right after the game, I took to X when the Bucs, on the Bucs official X account, when they posted the final score, you go back and read all the comments under that. Literally 99% of them are calling for the firing of Todd Bowles immediately after the game. You know, these are fans, right? These are fans. And the few people that were defending Todd Bowles, of course, one of them had to say, and I answered this guy and almost got into an X fight, formerly known as a Twitter fight with him, when he said, before you guys start calling for the firing of Todd Bowles, just remember, this is a husband, a father, and a human being. God. You know, they brought that into it. And I said, nobody's bashing Todd Bowles as a human being, but he needs to be fired as a coach. Anyway, but the people that are defending him are calling into, well, look at all the injuries he dealt with this year. Well, if you recall, he's responsible for one of the biggest injuries himself. So he brought that upon himself.
In my opinion.
So you cannot put injuries down as a defense for Todd Bowles' season when he is solely responsible for Chris Godwin's injury. That I defended, by the way, but I'm coming off of that now. JP's turned me a little bit. So yes, there are no excuses for the amount of time that he's had at his job, especially considering you're in charge of the defense, and the defense consistently has been the worst unit on the football field, even though we've had turnover at the offensive coordinator position, and it's still the strength of the team. And you didn't hire the offensive coordinators, Todd Bowles. That wasn't your decision to bring those guys in. So, yeah, there's literally no defense for Todd Bowles to retain his position, in my opinion.
I agree. As much as I love the man, and this is obviously a situation where it's going to, if indeed Liam Cohen gets other gigs, that it's going to you're going to lose a lot too. And listen, I've heard people say, well, what if we can just run it back with Todd and Liam? If I were the head coach, if I were the Glazers, I wouldn't choose that route. I know I've seen 3 years of what Todd can do in one-score games as a game manager, as a defensive coordinator. And if anybody can look at the record and say it's good enough, I just would have to respectfully disagree.
Well, and you can't say
I don't want to waste this offense, trying to find a defense that can play pass defense.
And you can't say he's losing close games because it's just bad luck.
No, a lot of these are coaching decisions that we point out. Yeah,
it's not like Andy Reid. It's not a coincidence that Andy Reid, they won 8 one-score games in a row during the regular season in some of the most outlandish, bizarre possible ways, winning those one-score games. That's not a coincidence. It's coaching.
I agree.
So, yeah,
let's ask the experts. Let's ask the experts right here. And let's bring in the great Scott Reynolds from Pewter Report. Been covering this team for a long time. You've been through you've changed more coaches than most guys change underwear over the years. We've seen it all.
Is that a good thing?
I don't know. Maybe once every 3 years is a little long to wait. Good morning. How are you?
How are you? I'm doing good. I slept 10 hours last night. It was fantastic.
Yikes!
You look like
Yeah.
you know what? You look like you slept 10 hours.
His hair looks
did.
good today
The
too.
hair,
I
look at the
appreciate
face,
that.
look at the skin.
Thank
No
you.
bags under your eyes like that.
I just have a
man.
filter on my my thing here. I'm
I
doing
do
what
need
the
to get
chicks
a
do. I'm
better
putting
camera.
filters on.
As,
So
yeah, as Tim
Yeah.
tells me, I need to get a filtered camera. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I listen. We're obviously talking about the topic du jour,
Yep.
and that's what's going to happen with the head coach. So I've
Mhm.
talked about what my opinion is, what I would do,
Yeah.
what I think should happen.
Yeah.
Let's go with what will happen. You're on the ground there and very connected, obviously. I talked to Jason Light briefly before the
Mhm.
game. It wasn't, obviously anything of substance at all. Just said
Yeah.
hello. And not that he's going to say, "Oh, by the way, we're
Yeah.
we're going to retain Todd."
Hey,
What-
I'm gonna tell you about Todd's future before the
Hey,
game.
come here. Yeah. Don't tell anybody.
Right, yeah. Keep it on the down low.
Keep
Okay.
it on the down low. I trust you. So what do you think? What do you think is happening? What's I'm guessing today is the big meeting between coach and the Glazers.
Probably.
Yeah.
Listen, I said on the Pewter Report podcast last night, and I've seen fans kind of gripping on social media. They're gripping like, "Oh God, we haven't fired Todd." Listen, man, the Glazers have done Black Monday before. It's happened, and I know technically Black Monday is like the day when coaches get fired at the end of the regular season, right? That was last Monday. But as we've seen, even with Mike McCarthy yesterday, right, like a full week after the season, the Glazers do not adhere to any firing schedule whatsoever.
Right.
Okay, they have fired coaches on Black Monday. They fired John Gruden 19 days after the end of the regular season. That was on January 16th, 2009. Okay, 19 days. And we thought, like, John was safe, right? All of a sudden, they make a decision. So we've got late December in the past when it was like 16 games over 17 weeks, right? Now we're playing January football in the regular season. So I've seen coaches fired in December, early January, late January. When they fired Tony Dungy, they didn't trade for John Gruden until mid-February.
Right.
Okay. This team went like 37 days without a head coach.
Yep.
Going from Rich McKay, they fired Tony Dungy, right? African-American, defensive-minded guy. They told Rich McKay, go out and find a replacement, and he offers up Marvin Lewis.
I mentioned that in my monologue. Yeah.
And the Blazers were like, did you not get the memo? We said offensive-minded coach, first of all, and we just fired the guy that looks like Marvin Lewis in terms of his defensive background and the coaching styles and all that. So they kneecapped Rich, thankfully, because they told Rich, hey, go out and ask Al Davis what he wants, and he said, oh, they want draft picks and stuff. We can't make that trade. So they kneecapped Rich, thankfully, sidelined him throughout the process, interviewed Ralph Friedgen, former Maryland head coach, was at Georgia Tech.
Yeah,
Steve Mariucci almost had the job.
By the way, has there ever been a bigger example of nepotism in the NFL than Rich McKay?
Yeah. Well, there have been. Yeah. I remember Lovie Smith brought his
don't be bad-mouthing Rich McKay. Don't be bad-mouthing Rich McKay.
Well, I'm sorry. He did a lot of good things and a lot of bad things as well.
No, I'm not.
So,
you're not bad-mouthing him, but that
Right.
particular thing that didn't work out. No,
Yeah,
it
didn't
was
work
a
out.
mistake.
And so the Blazers went back and they made the trade. That was mid-February, right?
Yeah.
Then fast forward to Todd Bowles getting the job on March 22nd, the day Bruce Arians abruptly retired. Okay, so I've seen coaching changes now.
Is that what he
Late
did?
December.
He retired? Is that what he did?
Well, that's what the story was. That's what the press release said. Late December, early January, late January, middle of February, late March, 2 weeks into free agency. So I just tell Buccaneer fans, it's almost like, and I'm not Catholic, I don't understand the whole process, but apparently it's like you wait outside of like the when they're selecting the new pope, right?
Yeah. There's
If
colors
it's like
of
white
smoke.
smoke, it's something. If it's
Yeah.
black smoke, I guess we're looking for
texting.
pewter
No.
smoke.
No.
Kind of like
Go
a
watch
gray
Conclave.
pewter smoke.
Go watch Conclave.
Ooh, I gotta watch
Okay.
that.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
great. It is great.
Okay. I just finished Landman, so I'm looking forward to something else to watch. Landman was exceptional, by the way. Billy
I'm about to
Bob
start it. I'm
Ali
about to
Larder.
start
Oh my
it. Since
God.
Gary was on it,
Oh.
I have to go watch it now.
He's phenomenal. Jerry's phenomenal in it.
What I've
He's
heard.
a little bit
Oh,
part.
wow.
It was fantastic. Okay. Yeah, Landman.
I watched the first.
I like Yellowstone.
Parts of the first episode. Really good.
Yeah, I liked Yellowstone, but Landman is like next level. So.
My dad was in the oil field business his entire life.
Oh,
so
okay.
I can relate. I can't relate to Yellowstone. I can relate to Landman.
Right. Funny little quick story. So Ashley and I, we took a trip to Bozeman, Montana, thinking that's where, because it takes place, Yellowstone takes place in Bozeman, Montana. It was all filmed in Utah. Yeah. It wasn't filmed and we're like, where's the Dutton Ranch? They're like, that's like a couple states away. Like, oh, damn. All right. We missed it. But Bozeman,
there's
Montana.
An actual Yellowstone ranch though, that they filmed it on, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But it's in Utah.
Yeah.
Not Montana, but Montana, great state. Loved it. Had a great time there regardless.
Beautiful.
But getting back to the Buccaneers. So I've kind of seen it all in terms of when they fire, guys and make coaching decisions. So they're a bit of a wild card, these Glazers. And I say Glazers with an S, because this is not Brian calling the shots or Joel calling shots. This is Brian, Ed, Joel, Darcy. They actually have two more owners too. Abram and Kevin. So it's like they've got 6 people that are owners
and they're siblings.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You think there's some difference of opinion going on?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like they're all tunnel vision, like-minded, right? No, like in every family, there's, well, I want to keep Todd. Well, I don't, what about this? And
sounds like a Jones family starter kit.
Yes.
So I can just see Jason Light like sitting there twiddling his thumbs right outside their office, like waiting, like which direction are we going to go in here? I'm trying to work on my off-season plans.
Yeah.
So that's what is happening right now, right? There is a deliberation process. Obviously, you cannot have a hung jury, right? If you're an ownership group, you need to be all in on the decision to either keep Todd Bowles or fire him. And I in my heart of hearts, I think that this team has kind of reached the ceiling. Yeah. And I think it all starts at the Super Bowl. You start at the Super Bowl and you work backwards. And there is a certain level of intensity, and sometimes there are exceptions to the rule. Tony Dungy was not an intense guy by any means. He did win a Super Bowl with the Colts, right? But look who they beat. They beat Rex Chapman and Chicago Bears, and Lovie Smith didn't have a lot of intensity either. So I'm not saying there's only one way, one guy that can get you there. But I look at teams that certainly have a mental toughness and a killer instinct. And if you don't have it at the coaching position, you have to have it in the ranks, right? And like Peyton Manning was a stone cold killer at quarterback, right? Yeah. He was an absolute killer.
Yeah.
If you don't believe me, go watch the SNL skit where he's literally throwing footballs at kids and hitting them in the head.
It's one of the greatest skits ever.
It was
one of the best. Fantastic.
Absolutely one of the best. Comedic genius at its finest.
Yeah.
But he had that. And that's what made the Bucs defense so formidable under Dungy, but also winning the Super Bowl with Gruden. Gruden had that intensity in offense, that kill shot mentality, the dagger to Jaravicius against the Eagles.
Great motivator.
That
was his superpower.
Warren Sapp, stone cold killer. Rondé Barber, the silent assassin, and he loves that title, by the way. If you ever see Rondé, next time you see Rondé, you go, you were like a silent assassin when you played, and he'll be like, yeah. He loves that. Yeah. So you have to have that type of killer mentality, that killer instinct. And what I mean by that is translating into the football field. Make the stop to get off the frigging field. You have 4 minutes and 41 seconds to get off the field, right? But when you're dropping your best pass rusher on the edge, Yaya Diaby, and you're asking him to cover Austin Eckler in the flank in pass coverage, and Austin Eckler catches the ball. Yeah, Diaby was close. Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yeah.
But to watch him get 18 yards, right, on 2nd and 10, and then all of a sudden, now they're in
and why did Jaden Daniels throw that ball?
Huh?
Why did he throw that ball? Because Eckler was open? No. He threw the ball because he saw 0.
Yeah,
and knew that right. his back was turned.
Right.
And he's like, he's not making a play on the ball.
I have yet to see Yaya Diaby make a play in coverage. I've yet to see. Yeah. I think Anthony Nelson made a tackle in coverage, but I don't know that he makes pass breakups. We've heard for years now.
And just the whole idea of taking your best pass rusher in that moment and telling him to cover a back.
Yeah.
It's cute. Look, it looks cute on the X's and O's.
Sure.
How effective?
It's not
was it?
effective.
It's
No,
not
it's
effective.
not. Especially the week before when we saw rookie quarterback Spencer Rattler thread on 3rd and 9 a pass to tight end Foster Moreau in between Yaya Diaby and Anthony Nelson in that Saints game. And I remember thinking, it's like, oh, that's brilliant. You know, you've got Diaby with 4.5 sacks, Nelson with 4. Those are your two best pass rushers. And you're asking them to do something that they're not equipped to do, which is cover.
Yeah.
That would be like asking Mike Evans to play tight end.
Yes.
That's the equivalent.
Yeah.
It's like Mike, we need
insane.
you to be an inline tight end on this play. Now, he can block downfield a cornerback or something. But do you want Mike Evans blocking a 275-pound defensive end and hold up, like in pass pro? No. So why are you asking your best pass rushers to do that? So it's those types of questionable coaching decisions.
And game management. I'm going to throw this up real quick.
Yeah.
Mario Christian said Quinn went for it, fearing that the possessions would be few and far between coming from the command. And that came from the Commander's flagship station. Yes, obviously,
right.
They had 8 possessions. The Bucs had 7,
right,
which is huge in a low possession game, even to have one more. And you turned the ball over once. So that's another extra possession for you.
Exactly.
And so, that's game management.
It is.
And if you know that you're not going to get the ball back, you got to take chances.
You got to read the room too.
Yes.
And, I think and Todd's downfall is he trusts his defense too much because he's attached to it. Right.
Exactly.
And so, you brought up the term nepotism, Tim, and the defense is Todd Bowles' baby. That's his kid. He's got another kid, and it's the 11 guys on the field at any given time. And he's going to believe in his kids, and he's going to trust his kids, and to make a play that they simply have not made all year. All right. Now, I shouldn't say that. Anthony Nelson in overtime made a play. And it stands out because it's the only friggin' play they've made.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's a game saver.
Yeah. Winfield made a bunch of those plays last year before he was healthy or before he was hurt. Now he's not healthy and he's just not the same guy. Hopefully he comes back with a vengeance next year, atones for this year and all that stuff. But to me, without Jamel Dean on the field, like that was a game changer. And I turned to Adam Slavon and Bailey Adams, our Peter reporters in the press box. The minute Jamel Dean was out, matter of fact, when he walked off the field, I said, well, he's done for the day.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember any time where Jamel Dean has returned to a game.
Right.
I'm just being honest. I can't. Yeah. Maybe there has been. I don't know when Jamel Dean leaves the field if he ever comes back on. I don't know that he's that type of guy. And so when I saw Josh Hayes up there, I'm like, oh gosh, this isn't good.
I said, oh shit,
good.
And I looked on the other side and I said, oh god, that's 24, not 27, because Zion went off to get checked for concussion. So for about 6 or 7 plays,
he returned.
About 6 or 7 plays, our corners were Tyreek Funderburk and Josh Hayes.
Yeah, exactly. You talk about a mental rodeo. My God, hold on for 8 seconds.
Yeah.
But my point is I actually called 2 plays. On 4th down, I saw McLaurin with Hayes for the touchdown.
You heard me call that first.
Huh?
About 10 of us in the press
and
box.
I just said, oh, here comes the touchdown. And there it was. And then on 3rd and 6 on that final drive, the field goal drive, they had De'Ami Brown up there with I think it was like a trips to the left or to the Bucs right. Or to the left, to the right, right to the left, left to the right, whatever Todd Bowles was thinking. Jaden's right, but our left, or actually his left to our right. Or
it's a halftime interview gone wrong.
Yeah. And I just knew. I said, this is going to De'Ami Brown on Josh Hayes. And 21 yards. Yeah, easy to call.
Easy to call.
So
great wide open.
Yeah.
The great wide
This
open.
team doesn't take the ball away. They're not coached to take the ball away. They don't spend enough time doing it.
No, I see those guys punching at the ball all the time.
Old crony coaches on his coaching staff, Kevin Ross, who he played with at Temple. His own position coach, Nick Rapone, is the safeties coach. And George Edwards, who is a failed outside linebackers coach, failed in Dallas twice.
Yep.
Am I wrong, Tim?
Nope.
Okay. And now, I just want to set the stage here. Since George Edwards has left, Micah Parsons is just gone down the toilet. Am I right there?
Oh,
Oh, no. He's been actually a consistent level
better.
sacker every single year, regardless of whether George Edwards is there or not. Right. I mean, that's just the truth.
He does. Yeah. No.
So it's like when George Edwards was brought here, it's like, oh, look what he did with Micah Parsons in Dallas. It's like, no, Micah Parsons did that.
Yeah.
You know, and I could tell you some horror stories about George Edwards, but I won't.
Interestingly, a good friend of mine, Dat Wynn, former Cowboys linebacker,
I hate
and former
Dat Wynn, but continue.
Former Texas A&M Aggies.
I know
linebacker.
that. I was there. I was there mentally watching the Texas A&M Aggies beat Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game.
There you go.
And I remember Dat Wynn forcing a Michael Bishop fumble. But thanks for bringing that up. Go ahead. Tell me about Dat Wynn.
He told me George Edwards was the worst position coach he's ever had.
Yeah, totally agree.
Ever.
Yeah, I could see that, and the results are obvious. And I will be the first to say, listen, I am not a coach. George Edwards has forgotten more football than I've ever learned. Okay, same with Kevin Ross, same with Nick Rapone. I'm not one of those guys I'm not a know-it-all, but I do have eyes, and I do see process matters, but sometimes results matter more. Because at the end of the day, this is a results-oriented business we're in. Yeah, so I get all the analytic people saying process matters when the results are either acceptable or favorable. Otherwise, your process is flawed. Otherwise, your process doesn't.
At some point, results have to equal the process.
Absolutely.
If they never do, then your process is bad.
Exactly. Right. So in my opinion, I look at this and I appreciate Todd Bowles saying, because I even asked him, I'm like, you going to make any changes to your coaching staff? And he's like, well, these are the same coaches that, that have helped us get to playoffs for 5 years and won a Super Bowl and all that. Like, okay, what have you done for me lately?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, look at
7
Minnesota.
interceptions.
Look at Minnesota. Who's the quarterback in Minnesota?
Sam Darnold.
Not for long.
Yeah.
Right?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be J.J. McCarthy because the last 2 games of the year, Sam Darnold crapped the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll get a gig somewhere else because there'll be somebody that buys into, well, look what he did in those other games. But in crunch time, to win the division and to win and advance in the playoffs, Sam Darnold reverted back to Sam Darnold. Now, he's a better version of Sam Darnold now than he was in Carolina, San Francisco, the Jets, wherever he's been, right?
Yeah.
He's gotten better. But do you fully trust Sam Darnold, right? To me, he's almost like he's like the modern day Jimmy Garoppolo.
He takes a lot of sacks.
He does.
Well, and he's seeing ghosts again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Definitely, no.
Right, so, great. Hey, Sean Murphy-Bunting helped the Bucs win a Super Bowl. Devin White helped the Bucs win a Super Bowl. Like, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
This is what this league is all about. You're as good as your last game, your last season. Okay? I love Shaq Barrett, and when Todd's talking about, we'd love to have Shaq back, I'm like, really? Okay, I mean, maybe on a 1-year league minimum deal, bring him to camp and see at age 32 if that first step has magically returned since the Achilles injury and being out of football for a year.
Yeah. Because he said he wants to play a couple more years. This wasn't just a
Jason Pierre's wanted to play a couple more years.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jason Pierre, Paul, like every year he tweets on Twitter, like, hey, you need a pass rusher, let me know. I'm like, game's passed you by.
Yeah.
So to me, if Todd Bowles does return, he has got to make some changes. And the problem is these are his buddies, these are his guys, these are his yes men, these are his cronies.
Yeah.
And
they're not. Yeah.
Do you think the Bucs would come to him and go, look, we're willing to give you to not fire you and bring you back next year. We need someone else running the defense. And would he be agreeable to that?
Well, Todd would not be agreeable to that.
And what is he there for? So I did this whole monologue. And I said, what is Todd's superpower? Like, I went through the top 10, 15 coaches in this league, and you can easily point to what their superpower is. Dan Campbell's a master motivator. Andy Reid is a great play caller. LaFleur is a great play caller. John Harbaugh is a great leader of men. All that. So what is Todd's superpower? Is he a great motivator? Is he a great play caller? Is he a great play designer? Is he a great culture builder? Is he any of those things that I say he's exceptional at this?
Yeah.
We couldn't figure anything out.
You know what he's good at, really? He's good at bringing the ship back to the surface from the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But here's the problem with that. Okay. It's like, in other words, the ship starts out at sea, 3-1. last 2 years. Then the ship takes on water and sinks. And Todd Bowles has got the ability
you're responsible for that too,
to raise the Buccaneers ship back to the surface level. Okay. But he can't get it back to shore.
Right.
That's how I would describe Todd Bowles. Is he can get you out to sea, and he can, if it starts to take on water, he can resurrect it. He can bring it back up, to where you're not dead, okay? But it wasn't the journey that you wanted. Nobody wanted to go to the bottom of the ocean.
Isn't he the one that's sinking the ship to begin with, though? So, I mean.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. If you're responsible for the turnaround, you're also responsible for
that's right. Yeah,
it going into the ditch.
If you're digging yourself out of the hole, you also dig the hole that you were in.
The hole. Right.
Exactly. I always thought it was funny that fourth quarter comebacks is such a great stat for a quarterback.
Yeah, it really isn't.
Because he's the one that got him in the hole to be like Roger Staubach, of course, here in Dallas. Oh, he led the league in fourth quarter comebacks while he was in the league. Well, what did he do to get him there to begin with? I mean, come on.
I love Tony Dungy, one of my absolute favorite people that have ever covered, and just favorite people in general. Like, I love Coach.
Same.
But I remember him always saying in his press conferences, and it drove me nuts. And I'm a defensive-minded guy, right? I mean, I don't mind you beating the Packers 13-7. I liked those kind of games. I didn't mind the Dungy ball because they were big plays that were happening in that game. Some people look at the score, that's boring. Well, when you have 5 sacks and 2 interceptions and a forced fumble,
boring. It wasn't boring.
Like that was exciting to me. John Hitt knocking
people into fourth quarter,
right.
Set up a game-winning field goal. That's great stuff.
A strip sack by Sapp and a strut. Yeah, give me that all day long, right? So I didn't mind the Dungy ball and the defensive stuff, but what drove me nuts to hear this, even as a defensive enthusiast, was Tony Dungy saying, well, this is a big game, but we really want to get him to the fourth quarter and win it. I'm like, no. There's nothing wrong with absolutely
winning it in the first quarter,
kicking their ass and being up 21 points at halftime. Like that is not a flawed strategy.
Yeah.
Okay. Like,
but
I'd love to see
it was part of his strategy.
It was. I know.
Yeah.
It's no. There's nothing wrong with jumping up on a team and just absolutely kicking their ass and winning 41-3 or something.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a massive halftime lead and then just running the ball and playing good defense in the second half.
All right, Scott, I have to, being the master interviewer that I am, I cannot let you get away with dancing around this question. What I asked you was, what's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen?
What I think is, and I appreciate you being a dogged interviewer. I appreciate that. This feels like they're waiting to see what's going to happen with Liam Cohen.
I agree. I agree. 100%.
This feels like there's an optics thing here, which, and let's just call it like it is, right? This is a minority head coach. We're in an environment where that matters. I mean, look at the post-game interview at Notre Dame where Freeman's being asked, what's it like to be the first black, head coach making the final. I'm not taking anything wrong away from that, right? I mean, that fine, ask the question, but this is 2025, and he's a good coach. I don't care what color he is. I really don't. I don't care if he's a guy or a girl.
Explain to the reporter who asked the question.
But I mean, it's an ESPN question. I get it. But my whole thing is I'm a merit-based guy. I'm a results-based guy. I don't care. I don't care if you have a woman that can lead a team to the Super Bowl. God bless her. That's phenomenal. If she's that good, I don't care. I don't care how old.
Results. Earn it.
It's results. I don't care with the age, the creed, the color. None of that stuff matters to me. The gender, I don't care. This is a situation, though, where there's an optics thing, right? Because this is a minority. And if you're the Glaciers, you're the most insulated from any type of skepticism when it comes to minority hires. You've hired more minorities than anybody else in this league.
Yeah.
Okay. Your track record, you are the trailblazer. You are the trendsetter. That should not even be part of the equation.
Right.
I feel like it is a little bit. Also, too, Todd Bowles is a really good man.
Yes,
He's a high character guy. And there's going to be some people, probably on ESPN, I'm not going to name the names, but you can probably know who they are, that would decry this. What does Todd Bowles have to do as a black man to, he won 10 games, 3 division championships, and they'll turn it into a race issue. And it's absolutely not.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not at all.
They're going to say that about a lot of things,
Yeah.
but it's not.
Especially if
nobody's
a
listening to
white
that
man
anymore.
replaces him, somebody on ESPN is going to take that narrative and run with it. And it has absolutely nothing to do, should have nothing to do with the decision-making process. But I'm sure that's part of the equation, right? Like this was not part of the equation when they went from Dirk Cutter to Bruce Arians, right? It just wasn't even thought of, didn't matter. White guy to white guy, like that's it. But I'm sure that is an element, and I don't know if it's 5%, 15%, 50%. I have no idea what that is. But I know that there are some people in the organization and ownership that they're very sensitive to that. And that's okay. It's your prerogative. You're a human being. You're the owner of the team. It's your call. But that's probably a layer to this. And I think that in their mind, if they're going to make a change, they would like to see Liam Cohen go on interviews, right? I don't think he's going to go to Jacksonville. I wouldn't. I mean, Trent Ball be there. Yeah, exactly. And now you're seeing Spy Tech get that second interview. And we talked about this for weeks on Pewter Report. So It shouldn't be a surprise if you're a Pewter Report reader. You've known Tom Brady, John Spy Tech,
and
Liam
Brady
Cohen.
spent a half an hour with Liam Cohen before the game.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, you can see
we're
writing
connecting the dots here, and the Glazers are too. So
you
got to let Spy Tech go. You can't hold on to him.
Yeah. You let Spy Tech go,
but you don't have to let Liam Cohen go.
Correct. And that's the thing. When it becomes well, we really appreciated Todd, and we thought long and hard about this. We contemplated. We didn't fire him right away. See, I'm acting like the Glazers here. See, we didn't fire him right away. We actually thought about keeping him. But those pesky Raiders, they came for Liam Cohen, and we looked objectively. This was this decision, as you can see, guys, this decision dragged out a whole week. And we were thinking about keeping Todd and Liam. But then the Raiders came along, and they wanted Liam. And we had to make the tough call about going with someone who, has really revolutionized this offense. And if you look around the league, all the coaches that have been fired, except for one, have been defensive-minded guys. Antonio Pierce, Gerard Mayo, Dennis Allen, Robert Saleh, Matt Eberflus, 5 guys, all offensive, right? The only offensive guys were, not coming to that contract extension for Mike McCarthy and now Doug Peterson in Jacksonville, right? So they can say, we follow the trends. We thought long and hard about keeping them both. This was a very difficult decision. Todd's a great man. He's done a lot for this franchise. We'll always remember him.
We're moving him
Super
upstairs.
Bowl champion.
He wants to, right?
But we feel like we needed to make a change. And I think that's what they're waiting for, in my opinion. And I could be wrong. I have no insight, but I've studied this team. I've been a part of every one of their coaching maneuvers. And they're not just coaching changes. These are maneuvers. There was maneuvering that happened when you wait 19 days to fire John Gruden, the guy that just was signed in the 2008 offseason to a 3-year contract extension with a raise. Okay. After missing the playoffs at 9-7. So you're firing the guy that you traded 4 draft picks and $8 million for, the guy that won you a Super Bowl, 3 division championships at the time, 2002, 2005, 2007. Started off 9-3. Monty Kiffin decided to join Lane in Tennessee at midseason. That had an effect. Trust me, it did.
Yeah.
The Bucs lost 4 games. All they did was win 1.
Yeah.
Lost 4 games. They've missed the playoffs by that. And they wait 19 days. When Raheem Morris got the job interview, because he was supposed to be the Monty Kiffin replacement as the defensive coordinator under Gruden. When he got that job interview out there in Denver, there's a lot of things happening. There was a note that was coming due on Manchester United.
That's right.
The recession happened in 2008. The Glazers had a lot of their investments in shopping
malls. They had
malls.
no cash for free agency, and Gruden wanted to go spend.
That's exactly right. And then you've got their guy who they thought about, well, if we replace John, it'll be Raheem, because he might be the next Mike Tomlin. Remember that.
Right.
They saw Mike Tomlin in the building go become Minnesota's defensive coordinator 1 year, and then the Steelers head coach. Yeah. And they thought Raheem Morris might be the next Mike Tomlin. And they didn't want that. They didn't want to let him go out the door. Kind of like with Liam Cohen now.
Right.
Yeah, they're thinking he might be the next Kyle Shanahan. He might be the next Matt
Sean
LaFleur.
McVay.
He might be the next Sean McVay.
Right. Can
we let this guy go?
So here's the thing.
I think that is the scenario.
I agree because here's if we're sitting here in a week and Liam Cohen is in Oakland or in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And he takes Kevin Carberry with him, and the entire offensive staff.
You shut your mouth. You shut your mouth right now, JP. Shame on
and that happens, right? And that happens, and we're sitting here with Todd Bowles looking for another OC.
Yeah.
That is an absolute disaster and a horrible management of your multi-billion-dollar team.
Yeah.
And that would not be a smart thing to do. And the Glazers are not dumb people.
Exactly.
And they read the room, they read the league, they know exactly what's going on.
Right.
So here's my question. Would you be okay with Bowles coming back and Liam Cohen as running it back?
Yes.
I think it's okay. Consistency wins, but I'll say this. If it were my team, I would want a fresh head coaching game manager, whoever it might be. I might, can you imagine Liam Cohen as the head coach and Robert Saleh as the defensive coordinator?
Yeah. You know what? I would be fine with Dennis Allen. I would be fine with
as
Dennis
a
Allen
DC. Yeah.
He's got a great track record. Yeah.
Against the Buccaneers too, man. Holy crap. He walked in here and beat Tom Brady 9-0 in a game with Taysom Hill at quarterback.
Former Aggie's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
I listen, but there's of all the things that get me excited about next year, Todd Bowles remaining as the head coach is not one of them. And let's remember, Todd Bowles, did the Glazers do a search and come up with Todd Bowles as their head coach?
Nope.
No.
They signed off on Bruce Arians' agreement to step down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's no huge emotional connection in terms of, oh, we went out and found this guy and hired him and everything's gone well and we've won divisional titles. It's just like, this just seems to be a natural evolution of where the game is going. And to do anything other than that, and there's a school of thought out there that they'll just find another Liam Cohen. I don't think that.
You know this better than anybody, JP. Lightning does not strike twice unless it's Kucherov or Hagel or Points or Hedman.
The Lightning strikes twice.
Exactly.
Lightning
right.
So what I'm hearing is that
strike twice. So if you think that you're going to go out and you leveled up, hey, listen, thank you, Carolina.
Yeah.
You leveled up from Dave Canales to Liam Cohen. If you think that you're going to come in and find a guy that is going to be as good, it may happen. There's a chance. There's a chance that if I play the lottery, I will win. Right. But it ain't great, and I'm not going to bank on it, and I'm not going to bet my season on it if I'm the Glazers. Because the laws of probability say that if you get a guy that in 1 year took you from 21 points per game to 29.5, the law of averages states that the next guy is not going to be at 29.5 points per game.
And from 32 in the run game to 2. Never been done before in the Super Bowl era, ever. So we're just going to go find another one of those guys who's got great chemistry with Baker that the guys love. I mean, universally, I hear these offensive players say this guy is a leader of men. They can see him as a head coach. He says he's ready. He's not in a hurry, but he's ready.
I'm gonna move out of my lane for a second here, but I'm gonna make an analogy that I think that you're gonna appreciate because it just popped in my head, and
I'm excited.
And sometimes brilliance pops into my head, and I'm not sure if this is brilliant, but we're gonna test it and find out. Okay. Let's say that we play musical instruments. We are part of an orchestra. Okay. We all have
trombone.
our sheets of music. You want the trombone? You got it.
I
played trombone in middle school.
You want the pan flute, JP? What do you want?
I'm a guitar player. That's right.
Okay. All right.
That's not in an orchestra, though.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. There's string. There's of course. Come on. New orchestra.
I'm going to be the guy that bangs the gong in the back because it's real simple, like bang, and all that.
I wrote a song about that.
Bang a gong. That's right.
Bang a gong.
So we're all in the orchestra. We all have our sheet music, right? And there are certain conductors that are better than others, right? There are certain conductors that simply are known for being the best conductor. And I don't know who they are because I'm out of my lane here.
John Williams.
Okay, yeah. Well, he's a composer, right? He's a composer. I'm talking about an orchestra conductor, like the leader, the guy that does this, right? Yeah. And I guess there's like a real art to doing this because some guys are better at doing this than others.
There is.
So my point is like, let's say Liam Cohen leaves and let's say you promote Josh Grizzard, the passing game coordinator, who they like. He's a really smart guy. There is an artistry to that. Like I remember when Ashley and I went to like one of those painting nights, right? Where like they teach you how to paint the Christmas tree at Christmas, and everyone's Christmas tree looks different. we're all looking at the same thing. We're looking at like, this is what it's supposed to look like. And then
Right.
you're trying to draw it and have it look like that. And Ashley's is always better than mine. And I'm looking at mine going like, well, it doesn't suck. Like, it's not bad, but like, I'm probably one of the worst in the room because all these ladies are doing better
That's
stuff than
me. That's me.
It's a long way of me saying you can keep the plays. You can keep the playbook. There is an artistry to calling plays.
Damn right.
There is play sequencing. There is timing. There is being able to make those halftime adjustments and on the fly in-game adjustments,
and evaluating what the other team is doing,
the anticipation and all of that. And I tell you what, one of the greatest joys of my life was I coached Pop Warner for 6 years as a defensive line coach, and I called plays for 3 as a defensive coordinator. You don't know how hard it is to call plays. And be good at it until you actually do it. I don't care if it's Pop Warner level, high school, college, pro.
I know.
Because it's like all of it. Like, it's so easy for me in the press box to sit there and say, I take advantage of this matchup or this, whatever. But to be on the sidelines and you got like a game clock going and you got personnel coming in and out and you got to make a call, right? And you can look down a distance. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. And it is an art form. And that's why not everybody's good at it. And so to me, Liam is exceptional at it. And he's exceptional at it in his first year. And he made mistakes this year he's going to learn from and get better.
Exactly.
So if this is like Liam Cohen year 1, man, when this guy has more experience to draw from, and when he's like going through his brain within 3 seconds and saying, it didn't work against the Commanders, I'm going to do this instead, right?
Yeah.
When he has that experience to draw from, God, I'm excited about what this guy can do in year 2, in year 3, in year 4.
You've got a young offensive line, you've got great weapons, and you've got a quarterback that you can marry up with a head coach for another 6-8 years.
Yeah.
It's right there in front of you. Like you don't drop the baby. It's right there in front of you. Don't screw this up.
I don't know what's coming.
To me,
I know what's coming.
This isn't even like people are arguing and hemming haw. This to me is not even a 1 to 10 hard choices. This is a 1 as the easiest choice ever.
Yeah.
And because I'm not mixed up in all the gushy feelings and and emotions of the thing, and I'm not mixed up in it. It's about football and it's about a meritocracy. It's about winning.
Yep.
And this there is nothing, and I don't mean this disrespectfully. There's nothing that Todd brings to the table that I can't replace or even find something better. When I look at Liam, I'm like, oh, those are hard to find. But we did it twice in a year. Listen, Canales was okay.
You're right. Here's
Liam
2
Cohen
plays to stand out.
Is rare.
2 plays to stand out. The Jalen McMillan touchdown against the Raiders, right? Like, it was kind of a back and forth game, right? The Bucs offense wasn't great. They were like down at halftime or like 3-point lead, whatever it was. They exploded for 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, won the game. They had the game in hand, and the Raiders came with a predictable blitz, and McMillan just said, "We're going to do a screen to Jalen McMillan," and that was a scoring play. And that was a thing where Liam Cohen said, if you're going to blitz me now, I'm not going to negate it. I'm going to kill you because you're going to do this. Like I'm going to slit your throat.
Taking advantage of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not trying to hang on to the ball here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to run Bucky Irving into
get out of it, but just not make a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. We're in field goal range now. Right. I'm going to run right into the blitz with Rashad White, maybe get a yard or 2, and then kick the field goal and win. He's like, nope. If you're going to try to kill me, I'm going to kill you first. And I love that play. It was a dagger moment in a game that it was a chump team that they were already going to win anyways. But I love that point of emphasis. I love the fact that when Mike Evans needed to get 5 yards to get 1,000 yards, Liam Cohen had an answer when all 11 New Orleans Saints knew that it was going to be a pass play and they knew it was going to number 13.
Yep.
And Mike Evans was wide ass open. There was not anybody around him because of the play construction and the design and the execution of that little double funnel screen to the outside. And it worked. And he caught the ball and he even picked up 9 yards. Yeah. And I'm thinking, give me that guy. Give me the guy that knows that this play is going to work here no matter what. Yeah. I think by and large, for the most part,
safe throw,
safe catch, wide open, had enough to get not just the 5 yards, but he was open enough to get 9.
Yeah.
And to me, that in year 1 excites the hell out of me. I can't wait for year 2 of this guy.
Right.
I can't wait for
And
this
if
guy
you and
to
imagine
go in and self-scout and look at his own film and say,
Yeah.
God, I screwed up here. 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 And then fixes those things, adds more in the offseason collaboration, and brings something even better to the table next year.
Right. And you could say Grisham's a smart guy. You don't change you stick with the
Right.
same offense, and that's all good. But the chances of him being as good a play caller and being having the alpha in him, and I don't know him at all. All these things, it's rare.
He's got an edge about him.
Find it. Yeah,
he's
no
got
question.
an edge, and I like that about him. And he calls plays with an edge. He wants to score points. I remember talking to him, after the game, he was pissed that they were 9 points away from the all-time record. They finished with 502 points, and the all-time record was 2021-511. So here it's like, all right, you just won. You just beat the Saints. You just won the NFC South. Mike Evans just got this milestone, and he's like, damn, 9 points away.
Hey, listen, that's the attitude.
I love that about him.
That's what creates greatness.
Yeah.
And people like that. Awesome stuff. All right. Well, we'll sit back and see what happens this week. But I agree with you. Just because it didn't happen on Monday doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I think a lot of things have to play out, and the Glazers are playing it the right way. And I also believe, as I told the crew on Good Morning Football, he ain't effing leaving. He's not effing leaving. All right, my friend, tell everybody what you guys got going on this weekend. It's a big kind of transition week to the offseason. Nobody better at the draft than you guys. What's up?
Appreciate it. Yeah, we're going to be at the Senior Bowl in 2 weeks in Mobile, Alabama, at the Senior Bowl, where this team finds people like Yaya Diaby. Sorry,
maybe I'll go up there with you.
Tyke Smith.
With you.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. It's a fun time up in Mobile. And this team has a lot of scouts that go up there. Jason Light hadn't been there in years because he's usually finding an offensive coordinator with Todd Bowles these last couple of years. But maybe Jason will go there this year. We'll see. But we're going to have our offseason coverage. Nobody covers the Bucs free agency and draft better than Pewter Report. You go to the Combine. So make sure you keep it attuned to Pewter Report TV, which is our YouTube channel. We're in the offseason mode. We have podcasts Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 4:00 every day. So we pick new Bucs topics. We invite your questions and comments. It's a great interactive community that we built there. Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel, almost 17,000 subscribers now. Please help us in that endeavor. Social media, X, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report, and of course, pewterreport.com, the mothership. We've got a Pewter Report roundtable going up today, my 2-point conversion column. Lots of great Bucs offseason content. That's the place to go, pewterreport.com.
You guys do it the best, my friend. Well done.
Appreciate it.
Great season, and look forward to the offseason coverage. But it's never an offseason when it comes
to
the
offseason.
Buccaneers.
Never.
There is no offseason. Yeah, right. All right, partner. There's just games and not games. That's
right.
all it is.
Lunch tomorrow?
It's always football. Lunch tomorrow.
I'll be there. Yes.
All right.
Yes. We're go over Palmacy.
Bring the barbecue, Tim. If you're
the
coming,
grouper
you better bring
sandwich.
some Texas barbecue, my friend.
Grouper
got it.
sandwich or the Cuban sandwich?
What was the first one?
The grouper sandwich.
I'll take the grouper.
Grouper sandwich.
Not a big Cuban fan.
Okay.
I got to do a Cuban. I don't do seafood. I'm from
I
Kansas.
don't like
It
Mark
doesn't
Cuban.
Moo or cluck. I don't need it. So.
Oh yeah.
Mark Cuban put a
the
bad taste
ribeye.
for Cuban sandwiches.
Or the ribeye sandwich. The ribeye sandwich.
Oh,
You
now
might
we're
go
talking.
for that.
Okay.
That's
Ribeye. Now we're talking.
outstanding. All right. We'll see you tomorrow.
See ya.
All right. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side, and we're going to get to all your comments because there are a voluminous amount of comments, and we love your comments.
Voluptuous.
And we are going to get to them when we come back. We are brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. So if you want an aggressive attorney that insurance companies hate, it's the Jeeves Law Group. Get Scott Jeeves on your side. Go to jeeveslawgroup.com. You can contact them through the website, email them, or call them. Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Back in 3.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite. I love it. So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Old Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing, reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of 5-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back. Well, we went like an hour and 10 without a break there. So, thanks to our sponsors, Bay Area Model Medical Center. Chris Lugo has now moved into the concierge medicine space, as they say these days. So if you're looking for a primary care and someone that will be at your beck and call 24/7, if you need a script or just something going on, you're like, hey, I've been getting up a lot in the middle of the night taking a piss. Maybe I should there's a supplement that saw palmetto. That works really well. Didn't even need a script. The salt palmetto worked fantastic. So stuff like that.
How many times a night are we talking, JP? Because I'm up to about 6.
Have you tried the salt palmetto?
First time hearing about it. Nobody ever tells me anything.
Yeah, it works really good on shrinking your prostate. Try that.
God, I knows I need a smaller prostate.
Yeah. Don't we all? Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Concierge medicine is more affordable than you think. So call or email for your free consultation to find out what it's all about. That's BAMMC.com.
Kind of a new website, too. They got a whole bunch of new stuff there since
Yes,
it's changed his branding a little bit. So,
yes,
go check it out.
Do. Yeah, highly recommend, because these people, these doctors, unless you absolutely love your doctor, and how many people do, I mean, it changes all the time, right? All right, let's go to the comments. Our good friend John Hill is up this morning. First NCAA baseball poll is out, and number 1 is Texas A&M. What the hell? Does Tim have that good of a split finger fastball? Omaha!
I'm very curious about this because, of course, they lost the College World Series to 10 IC last year.
Yeah.
They're number 2. They were number 2 to finish 2024. They're number 1 now with a brand new coach, because Jim Schlossnagle bolted for the Longhorns, who we beat in the World Series semis, I believe.
How is that possible?
So now Michael Early, who was the hitting coach last year under Schlossnagle, is now the coach. So very curious to see how the A&M baseball season goes on. By the way, JP, Florida State number 9.
Oh,
Florida number 10.
Link Jarrett's got them going already. Yeah. Yeah. FSU did some damage last year.
Oh.
Yeezy says, if I'm the Glazers and I know Liam is going to leave, you got to make a move. If Liam will stay, Todd has earned another season, even though we all know how that will end, and force him to make changes. Why? I don't get it. Like, why are you forcing him to make changes? Change him.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to bring in a new DC, like, so you're saying, oh, well, he's a great game manager and we don't want to lose that. What? Well, I mean, the timeout stuff is just.
He's not a great game manager.
It's not okay. It's not okay. And game managers, in terms of going forward on fourth down, which I think he was much more willing to do this year, and I think he made some good calls this year. We pointed them out. I think he was more aggressive this year. Absolutely. But when it came to the playoffs, the other guy was more aggressive, and it turned out to be the difference in the game. They're going for it on fourth down and scoring touchdowns. You're kicking field goals. That's the difference in the game. Pretty simple. Pretty simple in a game like that, where just a couple of calls are going to make the difference. If you go for it on fourth down and you make it 3 out of 5 times, and 2 of those turn into touchdowns instead of no points, well, you're plus 14 minus 6. Okay, that's carry the 4. That's 8. Difference in the game was 3. Okay, winner, chicken dinner. I mean, it's math. And by the way, a lot of those fourth downs were not 4th and 9. They were manageable because they were making plays.
Yeah.
Christopher Cole says that Doink heard around the world. Brutal. How do we feel about Deion Sanders to the Cowboys, Tim? What's going on?
Never happened. It's not going to happen. It's a great talking point, but it'll never happen.
Texas is a big place, and everything's bigger in Texas, but I can tell you that even as big as Texas is, it ain't big enough for them 2 egos.
The problem is Deion Sanders.
2 egos in the state, let alone the same room.
Deion Sanders would be the face of the franchise, and there's no way Jerry Jones will have that. No also, Jerry is noted on record as wanting to hire an offensive coach. We don't even know what Deion is. He played offense and defense in the NFL. He never served as a coordinator in college or in the NFL. He doesn't call any plays offensive or defensive, which is great. I'm all for that. I have nothing against Deion as a college coach. I think he fits in college.
I do too. I think he fits really well in college, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think he would be successful in the NFL. I could be way off. I don't know, but I do know it will not be with the Dallas Cowboys. My short list right now for the Cowboys head coaches, I wrote about it at cowboyscountry.com this morning. John Gruden, number 1. I want him. Number 1. I want him. I want him, JP. I want Gruden.
The same thing, but he's not going to. Both of those guys want to be the star.
I didn't say he's going to win. I just said I want Gruden here.
I know, but I don't think Jerry would hire him because Gruden wants to be the star.
I think Gruden's going to be happy to get back into the NFL wherever he goes. Anybody that wants him, I think he'll be fine because that's what he wants to do.
That's true, 100%.
He's having fun over at Barstool, but he wants to coach.
He'd take the Jags job.
And here's the sad thing, man. The number 1 on the odds, I don't know if you saw this, literally minutes after the announcement was made, McCarthy would not be back. Kellen Moore. Cowboys fans are going crazy over Kellen Moore, who was already here and failed miserably. That's why he got fired before he went to the Chargers as the OC.
Did he fail?
Yes, he failed. His offense is look at the problem in Philadelphia. What's the biggest problem in Philadelphia right now? The passing game.
Passing game, yep.
Who leads the passing game? Kellen Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he didn't leave Dallas necessarily on the greatest of terms.
So why McCarthy is he number 1 on the list? Because he's the best puppet available?
Yes, because of familiarity. He started, the Cowboys drafted him.
BPA. It's BPA, best puppet available.
The only reason he is a freaking coach in the NFL is because the Cowboys drafted him. He was in the same room as Will Grier, Cooper Rush, Dak Prescott, and Tony Romo in camp. Romo gets hurt. Dak in camp preseason. Dak takes over. Kellen Moore sees the writing on the wall, goes to the coach, goes to Jerry Jones, said, man, I don't see a future for me playing here. I'd like to get into coaching. Within a year and a half, he's the freaking offensive coordinator with no skins on the wall anywhere for anything.
Right. That seemed odd at the time. Absolutely.
That is the most Dallas Cowboys thing ever. And now they're talking about bringing Jason Witten in as head coach, who is a high school head coach here right up the street in Argyle. He's won 2 state titles as a high school head coach. I have no doubt that Jason Witten can coach in the NFL because he is very Dan Campbell-like to me. They were the same player. I know Witten was a lot better, had more longevity in the NFL than Campbell, but they're the same type of coach. They're the hoorah guys. They are leaders of men.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see him do it here in Dallas.
Why?
I don't know. I'm tired of retread Dallas Cowboy names. Bring me somebody new. I want somebody that has zero affiliation at any point with this organization. I want somebody new.
I know who's not going to be the new head coach. That's
Liam
Troy
Cohen?
Aikman. Trio.
No, you know what? You know what I would take Troy as? I would take Troy as a GM.
Yeah.
But Jerry will never give that up.
Well, you heard what he said.
Yes.
Like he said,
and he's
somebody
right.
said it's a coveted job, and he's like, I don't think so. It's not.
It is not a coveted job anymore.
Yeah.
Look, the Cowboys have had 10 head coach. Well, this will be the 10th head coach in the history. The next one this will be the 11th head coach in the history of the Cowboys including Tom Landry. Jerry Jones has been responsible for hiring 9 of them. Yeah, we had names like Dave Campo, Chan Gailey, Barry Switzer.
Dave Campo was the Cowboys head coach.
3 straight 5-11 seasons under Campo. I remember them well.
Wow, Dave Campo.
Who was Jimmy's defensive coordinator late when he left.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Again, Campo's a great guy, great dude, great coordinator. Not all coordinators can be great head coaches.
That's right. It's a totally different skill set.
Kyle Shanahan. I'm looking at you, by the way. That's another guy I don't want.
Yeah, totally different skill set. Yeah, Kyle Shanahan's a great play caller.
Yeah.
I would not pinpoint him as a great leader of men.
Mm-mm.
No way.
So there you go. There's my take on Deion to the Cowboys. Ain't happening.
Michael Sorgel from Denmark says, if I were Glazers and Light, I would evaluate the season now, enjoy the rest of the playoffs, maybe go on a remote island and watch the Super Bowl, take a little break, go back and evaluate again. Well, the problem is with that is if somebody poaches your offensive coordinator, you got to get on it. You got to get on it, like right away, or not let them poach your offensive coordinator.
Yeah, just don't let it start. Yeah.
Nathan Elliott says Spytech leaves. Jason Light is in trouble. Light was on the hot seat and saved his job by getting Bruce Arians and Tom Brady to come to Tampa. That's true, but he got him, and the rest is history. Now he's had 2 of the best drafts and considered one of the best GMs in the game. It's funny how things change, and I credit Jason Light for developing and evolving and not being stubborn, because I think you see that a lot of GMs, they're stubborn. They don't make, they double down on bad picks. Great way to get fired. What I see. Bucs Rays, Bolt says, thinks Bowles is safe in Tampa. A lot of people do. Could Bucs trade for Mike Tomlin? This is
not happening.
It's a very interesting thing. First of all, I don't like trading for coaches, even though it worked with Gruden. 2 1s and 2 2s crippled this franchise for the next 10 years, I'll say. You can't, it's tough. And what would you have to give up for Mike Tomlin?
Oh, they're going to want multiple ones.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. Those picks are too important, even for Mike Tomlin. Even for Mike Tomlin, who I think is, I've known Mike for a long time. He's a tremendous coach, and he'll have great success anywhere he goes. But here's the other thing. If you're a head coach, do you want to go to a place that just gave up 2 first-round picks? No, I
mean, it depends on the roster that you have, but no team can ill afford to give up high draft picks like that.
Yeah.
And look what happened to the Rams when they gave up all of those number 1s, and they didn't have a first-round draft pick for 7 years. When they moved up to get Goff.
Well, that trade brought the Rams and the Lions. Well, Lions haven't made the Super Bowl yet. Obviously, it got the Rams a Super Bowl, but those picks. And the guy from Lincoln High School, who's their GM, his name escapes me right now. He's done a hell of a job. Look that up for me and save me, please. He's been on the show, and I can't remember his name. God.
Brad Holmes?
Yes, thank you. Bucks Basement asks, does Bowles have the biscuits to fire the coaches in the defensive side of the ball? No. I don't.
No, he is the coach on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. I think that's pretty universal here. James says, but I also believe injuries hurt Bucks on defense, but showed that Todd unable to adjust, unlike Lions DC, who had 60 starters on the IR and they made it work. That has to concern the Glazers. Absolutely. One of the problems that when injuries strike that hurts the Bulls defense is the Bulls defense is so effing complicated. It's hard to learn. That's why he has to bring in veterans to play this defense. It's hard for rookies and young players to learn this defense. There's a lot of different machinations of it, and there's a lot of reading that goes on. It's too complicated. And that's coming from people that I've talked to that have played the game and know the scheme. It's just really, really complicated. So when you have injuries, new guys come in, and what do we hear? Oh, miscommunication. No, they didn't know what to do because it's complicated. Oh, we busted here, we busted there, because it's hard. It's a hard defense. And from a scheme standpoint, I don't see where it's working now. I mean, you look at this game against the Commanders, and they just did whatever. And you look, oh, they only scored 23 points. Well, that's because it was slow cuts. 1,000 paper cuts. Drew Jetson says, I blame Todd Bowles for cup catch blocked our third Super Bowl win. I mean, he's the one who called that blitz. And Cooper Kupp was one-on-one with a safety. In that situation where all they needed was a field goal, time winding down, bad call.
Did you see the latest odds for the next Jaguars head coach?
No.
There's only one in the minus. At minus 350, it's Liam Cohen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe Brady is your second at plus 450.
Ooh, I think I might take some of that money.
I'd take Brady here in Dallas for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with Joe Brady.
Yeah. James says it's the same as 2018. The difference is the Bucs had a great D and needed an offensive spark. Right. BA hired. Now in 2025, we have a great offense, but D not good, but a D-minded head coach. Glazers probably will make the change at head coach. I believe that. That's what I believe. I could be wrong. Bucs players love Todd Bowles. They do. They love Todd Bowles. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying, I've covered both teams. I was there. I'm just saying, telling you, there was much more. If you could quantify it, I don't know. I mean, they love Todd, but they also
doesn't make a good team.
Yeah, they also want to win. And again, when Dungy was fired, it was up to the leadership of that team. And as I recall, Tony was really good about this. He called Derek Brooks and he called Warren Sapp and he called Lynch and Aranda and all these guys after he was fired and said, listen, this is the business. I don't want you guys going out there crying for me. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. You guys got a job to do. Go win a Super Bowl.
Good for Tony.
Yeah, he wasn't mad at the Glazers. He just, he understood. And listen, and what happened? A week later, I'm over there and I see a tail fin with the Colts insignia on it.
There it is.
And Tony Dungy was on his way to his first Super Bowl and Peyton Manning. The Lord is good. The Lord is good. And Tony was confident in his ability that he would get another job and be able to win a Super Bowl someplace else. And that's exactly what happened. The Bucs needed a change. So did the Colts. They needed a defensive-minded coach. They didn't need a fire starter because they had one at the top of the food chain and Peyton Manning.
What year did Dungy take over the Colts? What year was that? Do you remember?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot here. I'm going to say it was the next year. So it was 2002. 2002. He was fired in 01. He took over in 02. And won the Super Bowl in what? 05?
Yeah, 02 to 08. Yeah, because they beat the Bears in 05.
Right. Okay. God, I got all that right. Holy shit.
Look at you.
It's in this coffee.
I don't want to know. Actually, I do want to know. I might want some. By the way, JP, we had breaking news here in the state of Texas this morning.
Oh, what was that?
As they have decriminalized less than 4 ounces of weed.
Well, it's better than decriminalizing less than $950 of stolen goods is okay, like they did in California.
Exactly.
Free looting. When you get to $1,000, stop looting, please.
I mean, and I don't do the weed, so I don't care, but it seems like they're just, and 4 ounces seems like a lot. Like,
It's a lot of weed.
You're basically decriminalizing weed, right? As long as you're not a dealer. Like, I feel like you can just whatever you want nowadays. So I like the gummies. I like the edibles. I'm not a big weed smoker person, but
I mean, let's just we all, the numbers are in, the data's in. Weed is much better for you than alcohol, and we subsidize. Alcohol is just, it's everywhere.
I still prefer alcohol.
And by the way, the big pharma's killing you a lot faster than weed will.
Yep.
It's
Keep getting that vaccine
to some painkillers and see how that works out for you. And they'll hand those out like candy. So yeah, it's about time for some common sense.
It's the reason they give it to you for free.
I'm not saying everybody go get high 24/7, although in this world it's probably not a bad idea.
Our show might be better if you are, though.
Oh, infinitely better. It's better when I'm high doing it. Just kidding. Hypothetically speaking, if Liam was the head coach and Bowles with the DC, he would be canned after the performance the defense is playing.
Yes, we've been saying that for months.
Yes. Bucs wasted the best offense in history of the franchise, and the Glazers can't overlook that, says James. If they don't make a change, it could set this franchise back for years to come. I totally agree with that. Bucs Race Bolt says they won't fire him because injuries is an excuse to keep the job. Now,
he's responsible for some of those injuries. So
that's right, in my opinion. Sergio Biltres says, Mario, the Bucs don't have 4 that can get to the quarterback. They have to blitz most of the time. That's why we need a free agent proven edge rusher. 100% true. 100% true.
Come get Micah Parsons.
By the way, if you can't get pressure with 4, which you never can, like, go watch the tape that we watch every week. You don't get any pressure. Why are you rushing 4? Why? Come up with something, especially when the game is on the line. I said it last week, and when I went through the tape, I'm counting 4, rushing 4, no pressure. Rushing 3, no pressure. Rushing 4, no pressure. Rushing 5, a little bit of pressure. Rushing 6, wow. Incomplete pass. Forced something good to happen. Barely ever did it, and certainly didn't do it at the end of the game. I don't get it. It's just playing safe as death. Mario says, if fellow Bucs fans are griping about not meeting expectations, just imagine what being said in Atlanta after they were predicted to win the South. True, but what's going on?
I never believed it.
Yeah, I never believed it. Sergio also says, yes, we need a veteran impact pass rusher, and yes, one in the draft too, but we need a Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby type. We are just a few spots on D from making this team a true contender. Said this before. Let's go back to the history lesson. What was missing on that Bucs defense in 2000? A dominant edge rusher. Enter Simeon Rice, one of the most expensive free agent contracts ever. Rich McKay did that. Jason Pierre-Paul on the other Super Bowl team went out and got him for a 3rd-round pick. Those were masterful decisions. Now we got to do the same thing. Go find one. Yeezy says, awful at clock management, bad game planner. His teams come out flat at least 50% of the time. I don't know what he does other than blitz, baby, blitz. Yeah.
And not frequently enough.
Yeah. And not with enough guys.
Yeah.
Like blitzing, is blitzing considered sending a linebacker and a defensive or dropping 2 defensive tackles and sending 3 linebackers and a corner? Is that considered a blitz?
So my definition of blitzing, JP, is when you send more guys than they have blocking. It can just be one more guy. To me, that's a blitz. That's a real blitz.
I think when from a analytics standpoint, I think it's if you send more than 4, it's determined to blitz. Right. So
because you're sending at least one extra guy. Yeah.
Right. I guess. But that's, that's weird too. Mario says, who the heck coach is out there that wants to come to Tampa Bay? It takes 2 to tango. 2 sides have to be on the same page.
Oh, I think there's a ton of coaches that would come to Tampa Bay with this roster.
Are you kidding me?
And this GM.
Are you kidding me? With this quarterback, this roster, this GM, this organization, this weather.
I'd love to see what McCarthy could do in Tampa.
Yeah. Not me. What's his superpower, by the way?
Well, it used to be play calling.
Right.
And it might still be. He wasn't allowed to really call his plays. He wasn't allowed to really run his offense. I told you that towards the end of the season, the last couple of games after the Cowboys were out of it, we saw him running like against Tampa. He was running a better version of his offense, but he didn't have the personnel because he wasn't in charge of that. to run his offense. So I still think, given the opportunity to do what he can do best, I think he'd be successful.
Buck Spaceman says, great game manager, LMFAO JP. He's not even close. He's an atrocious game. I never said he was a good
Agreed.
game
Yeah.
manager.
Yeah, we're agreeing with that.
What you talking about there, buddy?
What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about? Michael LaRue says, good morning to you. At a minimum, there needs to be changes on the defensive side of the ball, both players and coaches. It was not good enough this year. Listen, like, what are we talking about? Like firing assistant, like Todd Bowles needs to fire assistant coaches. The assistant coaches are doing what he's telling them to do.
They work for him.
How stupid would it be to fire the assistant coaches and not fire the defensive coordinator when the defense sucks? I mean, that's just silly. That's just optics is what that is. You're not doing anything. No.
Look, and here's the thing, too. You're talking about these guys that have been disappointing on the defensive side of the ball. Antoine Winfield didn't have a great year. Jamel Dean didn't. I mean, he was hurt a little bit. He didn't have a great year. Jordan Whitehead didn't have a great year coming back. A lot of this, we don't. What if a different defensive mind comes in here? Are those guys going to improve? You might have the roster that you think you need.
Right.
Maybe they just need a little direction.
That's true, too. All right, let's take our final break here. When we come back, TJ Reeves will hopefully join us. He's doing that other show that actually pays him. So we'll give him some deference there if he gets over here. So quick break. When we come back, more comments, more TJ, more Bucks. Sorry, it's that time of year. Back in 3.
Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com.
Hey guys, why not kick off 2025 by popping the question? Yes, and you know where to get that perfect engagement ring. It's the Gold and Diamond Source. The best prices, the best quality, and yes, get her a real diamond. You don't want to go with the fake stuff. And January's birthstone is garnet for all you FSU fans, right? Get 15% off all the unforgettable garnet jewelry at the Gold and Diamond Source. Also, discover Emilique by Emily Johnson Weintraub, a sleek and modern jewelry line that makes everyday gifts extraordinary. And don't forget, you have any unused gold? Turn it into cash or a stunning new piece. With gold prices soaring, there's no better time to trade up. You can do it all at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on this, what kind of Tuesday is this?
A terrible Tuesday.
This is a terrible Tuesday. It's a take-back Tuesday.
Yeah.
Taking back the sanity here. If you want to jump in here, you can always comment there in our on our YouTube page and on Facebook and on X as well at the JP Peterson Show, and we will read some of your wonderful.
JP, I got to show you something I dug out of the sports closet while we're waiting on.
Oh yeah.
Tell me if this doesn't take you back.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, the NFL football. Oh, nice. Wow.
This is like look, before we had dialed numbers. On phones, you could write people's phone numbers down and your own phone number.
Yeah.
Phones had a spot to write your own phone number because nobody could remember their own phone number. But I used this when I was probably 12.
Over at our old at CP Communications, where our old studio was. He's got one of those helmet phones, Miami Dolphins helmet phones. Ah, it's so nice.
So great. So old.
I don't know what this means. JP Billboard fired Bowles. Are there billboards saying fire Bowles around town? And Scott mentioned something that also is part of this. Let's have big signs say fire Bowles. Okay, well, I think that's
okay.
But the fact that the fan base, I would say 80, 90% fan base wants a coaching change. Now, it's not a reason for a coaching change.
No.
But if there's, if I'm a businessman and, 80, 90% of my fan base wants a coaching change, do I have to consider that as part of the formula? Yeah, it's a business. It's a business. If you want to sell tickets, if you want to win, yeah. Christopher Cole says I would move Bowles upstairs and promote Cohen and hire Saleh as DC. I love Robert Saleh. I think he got a raw deal in the Jets organization. I think second round in the right organization with a quarterback. I think Saleh could be a really good coach. I really do. Now, you wanted to bring up something you texted me earlier about Hall of Fame because the vote is today, right?
That is correct.
Well, fire away.
I've got the 15 modern era finalists for the class of 25, JP.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me, because we'll have some familiarities with a lot of these guys because of how long we've been watching football.
Mm-hmm.
So, JP, you tell me, cornerback Eric Allen, in or out? Out. I'm saying out.
It was a good one. I don't have the stats in front of me, so it's hard. But I remember him being really good. I don't think Hall of Fame worthy.
Me too. Like, he was really good.
When you hear the name, if it doesn't say Hall of Fame in your brain, then it's not Hall of Fame.
Yep, and that's what I'm going off of here. Yeah. Defensive end, Jared Allen.
Yes. Dominant.
He played for 4 teams. I think he's out. Playing for so many teams.
He dominated, though. He absolutely dominated.
He was good in Minnesota.
He dated one of my ex-girlfriends, too. So
so he's out.
Yeah, we have a connection.
Oh, there you go. Offensive tackle, Willie Anderson.
Willie Anderson, no.
Offensive linemen it's hard, right? To get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
no, he's out. How about Jari Evans, Saints and Packers guard?
He was good, but short-lived. If I'm not
didn't do it very long.
Yeah, offensive linemen are tough. I'm going to say maybe. Can I have a maybe category?
You can have a maybe. It's your vote. You can do it. I'm saying out.
Yeah.
The first for me, surefire first ballot, tight end Antonio Gates.
Oh yeah. Oh God, yes.
He's in, right?
He revolutionized the game. Yeah. He was the first basketball player turned tight end.
Yeah.
To be followed by Tony Gonzalez and a couple other guys. Yeah. Oh yeah. No question.
Wide receiver Torrey Holt.
Yes.
Wide receivers are for me, but he was pretty good. Yeah.
Well, wide receivers are tough too because it's kind of a numbers game, but then it's kind of not. It kind of depends on what offense you were in, who else you played with, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, so he's a borderline. He's a maybe for me. I'd have to look at the numbers.
Here's the rest of them because I know we got TJ here. Luke Kuechly.
Yes.
Steve Smith Jr.
Yes.
Terrell Suggs.
Yes.
Fred Taylor.
No.
Adam Vinatieri.
Yes.
He's in. Reggie Wayne.
Maybe.
I don't think so. And of course, here's another shoe-in. Safety. Darren Woodson of your Dallas Cowboys, JP.
Yeah, that's a yes.
He's in. And then offensive lineman Marshall Yonda from the Ravens. And then I'm saving the best for last because I think he is a no-brainer Hall of Famer. And I don't understand the argument against it. Quarterback Eli Manning.
No.
See, I don't think you can argue against it.
Hell no. Hell no.
I think he's in 2 Super Bowls.
Let's bring in the tie-breaking vote. The tie-breaking vote, a man who's been around football, a similar age as us, an old head, Eli Manning. Yay or nay? HOF.
All right, so we could do like half an hour.
Yes,
by the way, I apologize. I've been trying to get to you. We could do a half an hour on the Hall of Fame and the debate back and forth. Short version, Eli Manning has 2 amazing postseason runs and wins over the New England Patriots. I think that puts him in. You're not going to look at record-breaking stats, but it isn't all about the stats as far as I'm concerned. I think it is fair to say that in the 2000s, in this century, you cannot write the history so far of the first 24 years of this century and not include Eli Manning as part of it, with beating those unbeaten Patriots and then validating it by beating them again in the Super Bowl.
His numbers
so I would put him in.
Pedestrian at best.
We got it. Well, but I mean, we got to look
more
at
to it than just showing up at the right time with a great defense.
Were Steve Young's numbers epic? Did he ever lead the league? How many MVPs? How many records did he break? He won the one big Super Bowl. He was really good at a high level, but he's got a 1 Super Bowl win. You have Steve Young in the Hall of Fame, but you're going to leave
Steve Young
Eli
doesn't
Manning
win that
out with
Super
2.
Bowl. He's not in the Hall of Fame.
Sure. And then you've got a couple of other guys like Dan
Super
Marino
Bowl
that
Hall
has
of
the
Fame.
numbers and never
Pro
won it. Right.
Football Hall of Fame.
Right.
Correct.
Oh, I think he's in 60.3% completion percentage for his career, almost 51,000 passing yards.
What?
I'm sorry, completion percentage, 60.3% completion percentage, 84.1 passer rating.
Below average.
I think he's in. He's in because he beat Tom Brady. Ask Tom Brady if he's a Hall of Famer.
I am not a New Yorker. I'm not a Giants fan. I don't back the Mannings, but that playoff run winning at Tampa, first of all, 07 playoffs, then at Dallas, Timmy, beating a 14-2 Cowboy team or 13-3. One of the two.
14-2.
Beat them at Dallas. They beat Favre and the Packers in the freezing cold in the overtime in Lambeau because of Eli Manning. They beat the unbeaten
because of
and
Eli,
simply
I don't know.
perfect. He was brilliant in that NFC title game. Go back and watch it. He was brilliant. And then they beat the perfect Patriots in the Super Bowl where he played well in that game as well. I know the Tyree catch, catching it up on his helmet or whatever, but
the helmet catch,
that postseason run alone. All right, listen, I know you got many avenues you want to travel and not a lot of time. I said this with if we've seen Levante David play his final game with the Buccaneers, and I hope not. And by the way, I don't know if you got to speak to him a little bit, and I was not around the scrum when they were all
it was a big scrum. I couldn't get in.
I had a personal moment with him. And I said, please tell me this was not your last game. And he looked at me just like this and said, I don't think so. That gives me hope.
Good.
Now he couched it. I don't think so. And it's a long way to this summer and the fall and training camp and the preseason. But my point is, Luke Kuechly had a tremendous career for a shorter amount of time. Mm-hmm. There is not a Hall of Fame where you put Luke Kuechly in and you don't put Levante David in.
Agreed.
Sorry.
Agreed.
Sorry. Now, if you want to make the argument that neither one of them belong in a Hall of Fame with Dick Butkus and Ray Lewis and all the other middle linebackers of NFL lore that deserve to be there,
you can't. For that
I'm
decade,
just saying that to defend Levante David.
Yeah, for the last 15 years, Luke Kuechly and Levante David have been the top 5 inside linebackers, and you can quantify that by Pro Bowl. Well, not by Pro Bowls because Levante never got that nod that Kuechly did. But the numbers, Levante's numbers are far superior to Kuechly's at this point in terms of caused fumbles.
Done
and all
it
those
for
things.
longer. Again, the real quick stat that I love. In the last 30 years of the NFL, listen to the list of players that have 40 or more sacks and 30 or more takeaways. They are the likes of Jason Taylor in the Hall of Fame from the Dolphins, the late Junior Seau, Brian Urlacher. You heard of these guys?
Yeah.
Julius Peppers,
Mm-hmm.
Hall of Fame players.
Sean Taylor.
And Sean Taylor did not get there, I don't think.
Did not get the sacks?
Not get there on the sacks. Levante David's on that list now.
Wow.
40 or more sacks, 30 or more takeaways in your career. So tough to argue on that.
So give me your tech on just from sideline level, atmosphere level, playoff game, Sunday night. It was just
Why
the
I
perfect-
haven't drank any lighter fluids since Sunday night. I'll give you that tech now.
How loud did the doink sound to you?
You could hear it. You could hear the doink, and some of it is the effects mics from NBC and from the radio, et cetera. You could hear it. And I thought, again, my vantage point is looking like this, and I saw and heard the doink, and I'm like, did that go through? Because it was tough to tell. And you hear Mike Tirico even hesitating and Gene hesitating, because it's tough when you're calling the game like this and you're having to watch the monitor to look to your right and see, did that bank in or not, or did it bank off and deflect below the crossbar? Tough to tell, but let's be honest. It should. You've talked about it. We covered it. I covered it on the Nothing But Bucs podcast. It should not have come down to that.
No.
You had chances to put the game away. Quick versions. All right, the fumble is awful. The fumble did not cost you the game. What happened after the fumble cost you the game. You let them get in the end zone. You had the ball yourselves. You had a chance to retake the lead with a touchdown. You didn't. You screwed it up. You then allowed them to kill the final 4:41 of the game and get first down after first down. That's what cost you the game. Everybody keeps trying to pin, well, if you don't fumble there, you win the game. You don't know that. And by the way, you had a chance to overcome it down inside the 15-yard line, and you screwed up the hard count and rattled Graham Barton. You and I were standing right there with Graham Barton when he took ownership of that as a rookie player, by the way. You talk about leader and step up and take the blame. He said, put that on me, because he clearly snapped the ball before the other offensive linemen are ready, and 4 Commanders immediately breach the backfield to kill Bucky Irving on that play. So you did enough self-inflicted, besides the fumble late in that game, to cost you, and that's where the Bucs had been winning games down the stretch of the season. So credit the Commanders, credit Jaden Daniels, and how they got it done again, JP.
What is your sense on what this team needs to do in the offseason to get better? What are the key?
Got to have a pass rusher. Got to find somebody that can win. Got to have a cover corner.
Yep.
Got to have that.
Inside
They're going to have some
linebacker.
decisions to make. You're going to have decisions to make on players that you bring back or not. I think this is fair to say right now. Is Jamel Dean worth what you've been paying with what you're getting in return? This is what you have to look at. You have to look at, this is what they did with Shaq Barrett a year ago, by the way. Is that going to be worth, they did the same thing with Donovan Smith. Is it worth what we've been paying to continue to pay this versus we need salary cap relief and we need to go after other people? So there are question marks. I know there's a lot swirling about, Todd Bowles, his situation. What about his staff? Does his staff stay intact? Does Liam Cohen take another job? Again, they can't prevent him from interviewing for a head coaching job or taking one. By policy, you've got to let him go take it. But you wonder if the Glazers aren't trying to make it incredibly worth his while for don't leave here.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see how all of this plays out in the next few days. With all of this, I understand the frustration. I come back to one more time, something that we've repeatedly talked about. 5 straight years of the playoffs. For so long, you could not get in the playoffs at all. The 2010s, you were not in the playoffs once that entire decade. The culture is good. The team responded to the head coach down the stretch. You and I talked on this show and off the air. How are they going to respond after the bye and down the stretch? They did. They won 6 of the final 7 games to get into the playoffs. You just didn't finish that game the other night, or you're one of the 8 teams left playing this weekend, and I think all is fine if that's the case. So I understand the great debate. I just keep coming back to trying to ground people in, you've got a winning culture, and you got to be very careful on disrupting it, blowing it up if you're going to do it yourselves. You have to be careful because it can lead to an odyssey like we saw in the 2010s. The New England Patriots have not been able to figure it out now for about 4 or 5 years. And it may be 3 or 4 more years before they're playoff relevant. I'm sorry. Mike Vrabel doesn't immediately cure their roster problems, their locker room culture, all the different situations that they have in New England in 1 year. That's not going to happen in 1 year.
What was your sense of depression in that locker room? Because I like teams that care. I've been in locker rooms after big losses where guys are joking around and heading to the party. We've been to those, and those are all losing cultures, man. It used to bug the shit out of me when I walk in the locker room and those guys were laughing and they just got their ass handed to them 31-10, and there's 4 guys in the corner laughing, getting ready to go out to the party. It just irks me. By the time I got in there, it was pretty well picked over. We're going to the head coaching press conference, but I saw a lot of guys, especially Kalijah Cansey, that looked like they were, they were not happy campers whatsoever.
Yeah, he was sick. He doesn't make the play on Jaden Daniels, and he knows you've still got a chance if he makes that play, obviously.
Yeah, big chance.
So typically I get in there before the rest of the media, and what I will share is I stood and waited because it was funeral-esque. It was awful. And so I'm not going up to people 3 minutes or 4 minutes after they've just gotten in there, right after the game is over, to stick a microphone in when it's finality, the season is over. So I waited an extra 3 or 4 minutes to let people go, give hugs to people, somebody get in the shower and come back, let it kind of sink in, etc., for an extra 3 or 4 minutes. But yeah, it was what you would expect. They took it hard. That's how you should take it when you lose a playoff game with so much expectation and you had it at home and you lost it the way you lost it in the fourth quarter. That's what it was. Yes, that's what it was to be around. Not good. I've been in those. I've worked all kinds. I've worked them at the end of the year when the team's been terrible and you can't wait to have this be over. And then you have to go in situations like that after you've lost and your season is immediately over and you weren't expecting it. So it was tough, but maybe it's motivation for some of these guys now for a year from now, for 52 weeks from now, when you come back around to the postseason.
Yeah, of course. All right, Timmy, you got anything for Tej?
No, do you have a prediction, TJ, on who coaches in 2025?
Oh, for the Bucs?
Yeah.
I mean,
the Cowboys.
For the Cowboys. All right, interesting on that. Todd Bowles is your guy until the letter G weighs in otherwise. And JP and I have done this before where the Gruden, you and Nick were talking about this earlier. The Gruden move was made 17 days after the season.
Yeah,
that's right.
All right. Lovie Smith, if I recall, was about the following week, was about 7 days after the season, after they had met with him. So they are meeting with Todd Bowles if they've not already done so. They're meeting with him here in these couple of days, and then they'll decide whether this is good enough or not.
I think timing is a little different here because if they're gonna fire Todd, they know who they're gonna hire, and he's an in-house guy. It's Liam. So it's not like, okay, we got to fire Todd now before Liam takes an interview. I think Liam and the Glazers have an understanding that they have the right of first refusal. If that's the way they want to go, I would be shocked if Liam did not give them the right of first refusal. And also, if he would not, of all the open jobs, clearly the best one for Liam is this one. It's not even close. I mean, that's
well, and let's remember this. All right. Again, this did not end the way that you wanted, but with this coach and now with the pieces you have, they've responded to him and they've made the playoffs, and you won a playoff game a year ago. So you go back to the end of John Gruden. We go back to Eli Manning. They lost that game as a heavy favorite at home in the wild card round.
That's right.
When, they had rested players the week before when they had clinched the division. They lost that game. Giants go on to win the Super Bowl. So the next year comes around and you're 9-3 and everybody's feeling good about the postseason. We remember this, right? If you're a longtime Buccaneer fan, JP, you were covering it with Channel 8. I was right there on Buccaneers radio. Fell off the cliff, lost the final 4 games.
Derek got
hurt.
So
in that situation, it was much more justifiable on, we believe this is not working. The culture is not good. We haven't done well in the playoffs 2 years ago. We didn't make the playoffs this year. We're going to blow it up. And by the way, the 06 season was also a bad season. So you really had 3 years in a row where John Gruden had every opportunity with the salary cap, with the free agency, with the draft. Now you fast forward to getting rid of Raheem Morris, the name we don't mention, Lovie Smith, Dirk Cutter after that. None of them were winning. So it was easier to come in and say, we've got to change this. At least in this instance, you have been winning.
Right.
So that's the rub. That's the rub on what they do.
We shall see, my friend. Well, listen, thanks for joining us each and every week. We'll have to talk college basketball the rest of the way.
We'll get some college basketball rolling
Gators
over
are
the next
good.
few weeks, including including March. Yeah, the Gators have been
The
good.
Gators are freaking good.
Interest all over the place in the Southeastern Conference and their
Yes.
teams. They could easily have 10 or 11 teams in the NCAA tournament. That's how good the
Yes.
SEC is.
Yeah.
More so than somebody's ACC, Mr. Peterson.
Oops.
We shall see
FSU
on that. But you guys have me back anytime. I usually am selling optimism on this show. I'm just saying to Buccaneer fans, you got a lot of pieces. You got salary cap room. You got free agency.
Yes.
So
and most importantly, you got Jason Light sitting at his desk on the phone.
That is correct.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of room for optimism.
Timmy,
absolutely.
Timmy, who's going to get the Cowboy job?
Jason Witten, he said.
Jason Witten. Wow.
A lot of the Cowboys fans want that. Jerry's already mentioned his name specifically.
How wild is it that Jerry Jones allegedly called Deion Sanders and he's not saying yes? He's saying I got to think about it. Who knows what's going to happen? 2 years ago, when Deion was at Jackson State, if Jerry Jones had called him, my line is he'd have walked from Jackson, Mississippi, all the way to Dallas to go be the Cowboys coach.
Yeah.
He has always maintained.
He's potentially sitting in Boulder going, I'm good. I don't need it. I'm good. Do we believe it?
He has always maintained he does not want to coach in the NFL, and I know why. I mean, I don't think that his college coaching game translates to the NFL. Keep in mind, too, his buyout at Colorado was $8 million.
Well,
I don't think
that's not anything to an NFL team. I understand your point.
But it's something to Jerry. I don't think
what we're about to find out, are we not? Does he really want to coach in the NFL or not? Because he's got two great opportunities, because the Las Vegas Raiders might be interested too.
Yeah, he's already said he doesn't want to go to Las Vegas.
And allegedly, Colorado's ready to pay him, and Colorado's ready to pay him even more, which is good for him, bank for him, because, by the way, they didn't win a lot of important games. They won games. They didn't win a lot of important games last year. So if you can make 10, 12, 14 million without winning any important games, I say get your money.
He's better off there. He's building his team. He's about to lose his kid anyway. He's not going to have his quarterback. He's already got a 5-star quarterback that signed.
Get your 10, 12, 14 million. So when you turn in a 4-8 again next year, at least you're getting paid.
I vote for John Gruden or Joe Brady in Dallas. That's who I want.
Ooh, on those. John Gruden still with litigation against the NFL. I don't see it.
I think it's a perfect fit. I think it's a perfect fit. Another way for Jerry to give the middle finger to the NFL.
That's true.
Interesting.
He's got that right.
Yep. Boys, I always love being with you. I know I come late here, but I do get in here. You stayed late with me.
Baby. All right,
you guys be well.
Love you, partner. See you soon.
Look forward to being back with you whenever you want me, college hoops and otherwise. Thank you, boys.
There we go.
The great TJ Reves. I don't even know if we put up a Rick comment yet today. Rams have one of the youngest teams and have built a strong defense without high draft picks for years and losing Aaron Donald. Good coaching matters. Could not agree more right there. All you gotta do is go pick them FSU guys. Did you see Jared Verse last night running down the sideline?
Remember when the Rams started 1-4 and everybody was writing them off early in the season?
Yeah. I have not seen Mark Maletic in here, so I want to get him in. Had so many injuries on defense. The back end of defense was just destroyed and made it so the offense couldn't keep up. I just don't. Injuries are not a reason for your game management. He says also, I think next year with some healthy players, the defense will get the ball back to the offense a lot faster. I'm sorry, the last 4 minutes of that game was like Kansas City overtime game. Yeah, I just can't put it all on injuries, partner. At least that's me. Everybody's got injuries to deal with. All right, that'll do it for us. Thank you guys for chiming in. Thank you for joining us. Boy, look at those numbers. Holy heck.
13
people. Let's go. We love you people.
By the way, y'all give us a like. Wherever you're watching the stupid show, please click the like button for God's sake.
Yeah, if you're watching, you got to like, right? So like us. Ding, 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 ding.
Yes.
Please like us. Please like us. You hurt me. Right. Have a great day, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. See you then.
Thank you.